What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us. This is Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host Andrew. Don't get it twisted, Lapache, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, or Mad Boxing for short. Thank you once more for joining us on this lovely and toasty Sunday morning. We are recording this early Sunday to get a crack a like and then make sure to get this show out to you guys ASAP, because plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of things to discuss, and we want to get crack-a-lacking on them. We don't like to, delay with some of the topics because sometimes we like to get our ideas out there as quickly as we can because sometimes these ideas end up happening, and we're going to be talking about that later on in the show here. But we appreciate you guys stopping by on this Sunday. Blazer of a day. 106 I think is going to reach over here. Could be wrong on that, but I know it certainly feels like a gazillion degrees outside. On this Sunday morning, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. If you guys missed it, there was a press conference this week. Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn going at it. There was a lot to take away from this particular press conference. Many things about what we predicted might happen actually happened, and oddly, no Oscar. At least I didn't see him. I thought that was going to be one of the selling points of this fight. Here is the bickering between Dana White and Oscar De La Hoya, but we got none of that. Although Ryan and Conor did their own and definitely did their end of the lifting as far as selling this fight goes. So we're going to talk about that and more details as to the distribution of the fight coming out. We were going to be discussing how this transpired and what that means for future fights because they're not dummies. They're doing this deliberately. So we're going to be talking about how this fight's going to be distributed and what that means for future fights. More Oscar news. It sounds as though there is a resolution. We have come to some sort of solution with Oscar De La Hoya and Vergil Ortiz Jr. It seems as though things are on the up and up again, and we're going to get Vergil back in the ring. Earlier in the week, or last week, I should say, last Wednesday, we had heard, to use Oscar De La Hoya's word, rumblings that there was a solution right around the corner. And sure enough, right after our Wednesday show, it happened. And we're going to be talking about that. And the statements from both Golden Boy Promotions and Vergil Ortiz, they're very, very odd, but we're going to throw that in there because we thought it was pretty funny. Let's see here. Oh, there are some fights yesterday. Diego Pacheco, we're going to be talking about that. Immanuwel Aleem, terrific fight. I had fun watching it. Undercard, not a little underwhelming on the undercard, but that doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about the main event because it's in a stacked weight class and what could potentially be the future for one Diego Pacheco. And if you look at the empty seats in the arena, oh shit, doesn't seem like it's too positive, at least on that end. But some of the future opponents for him, we're going to be talking about, number one, the results of the fight, of course, his performance, and what the future means for one Diego Pacheco. A shakeup with this weekend's card in Australia, main evented by Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence. It looks like Jermall Charlo is not going to make it there. And pardon me if I get the first name wrong, because again, I forget the freaking names. But that Charlo, the one that was supposed to participate on that card, apparently couldn't make it. And if you hear our last show, my co-host Andrew got it right on the money. His criminal record is what probably kept him from that. We're going to be talking about that. And somebody stepping up to say, all right, Charlo, if you can't go to Australia and fight over there, let's you and I fight here. Who can that be? We're going to discuss that later on the show, of course. And towards the end, we're going to throw this in there. Some UFC numbers. It was the farce that was the unfortunate ending with UFC 329 a few weeks back, and then the viewership at the time that we were recording our show, we hadn't heard what the viewership was. We know what it is now, and we're going to be discussing those numbers because could be good, could be bad. Everybody and their mama seem to be thinking it's good, but really isn't. We're going to be talking about that, of course. All right, and of course, let's throw this in here. Today is World Cup Day. Today is the finals, Spain versus Argentina. I sent Andrew a funny reel on Instagram. These two Jamaican monkeys on some sort of podcast saying, "What does FIFA stand for?" And the guy says, "Federal Football and International Association of Argentina." I thought it was pretty funny that he threw that in there. But we're going to be talking about that briefly because it's actually going to be going on during the show. Hopefully, it seems like everybody was against Argentina the last game against England, and I suspect that might be the case here. But we're going to throw that in there at the end. Okay, before we get to the show, as always, a quick word from our channel sponsor, Health y Sol or Health y Sol. Make sure to give them a try. Check them out. If you happen to find anything you might want to try out, use the code MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off of your purchase, or follow the affiliate link that's going to be in the description of this video and get the same 10% off. As always, lavender patchouli is a specific scent that I like. Tallow-based products, natural soaps, stuff like that. Make sure to give them a try. Once more, Health y Sol, Health y Sol, MADBoxing10 at checkout and get 10% off your purchase. Alrighty, so boy, do we got stuff to talk about. We're gonna get crack-a-lackin', of course, with the main event of the week. Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn and their interview, or not interview, their press conference, their first press conference, right? They had a big Zuffa press conference. They had Richardson Hitchens there, who did answer some questions, and they had Edgar Berlanga there that did answer some questions. But the stars of the show were Ryan and Conor. And as I want to make a clip of this because I remember saying this on the last show, hearing Conor Benn speak Spanish. Right, I was like, wow, I didn't realize the Spanish was so good. I had to go back and listen to it. And on the show, we suspected, well, I guess we said, we more so said, wouldn't it be crazy if he starts like talking mad shit to Ryan in Spanish? And lo and behold, this dude straight up does it. And boy, does he throw some funny stuff out there, saying like you ain't not no huevos and saying like me la pelas and all this other shit. Holy hell. And what did Ryan come back with? Chupa mi pito. He wanted to throw that in there at the very end. And well, that didn't turn out too well. But there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be discussing about that particular press conference, but that one in particular made Ryan look pretty bad. So we're going to get started with that specific topic. Andrew, what we said pretty much came to pass, right? Conor threw out these Spanish ones and really seemed to have gotten under Ryan's skin with that in particular. And I mean, after what you said, and I found out about it later, Ryan wearing the Argentina jersey while he's hitting the Cobra bag, stuff like that. It's like, bro, what the hell? You know, I know these are Latin countries, but his Spanish is terrible. What first impressions of that specific interaction and that press conference in general between the two guys? What were you thinking when you were watching that?
First off, what's up, Miguel? Yeah, dude, look, I think he's going to be losing possibly fight fans every time Conor Benn calls him out like that. You know, it was a real bad look. It was something we knew it was going to happen. Look, me and you being Mexican American, being, following boxing, going on comments, we've seen over the years, this really is a thing in the sport, right? That, most Mexicans do not look at Mexican American fighters as the same. Not how Mexican Americans look at themselves, right? We a lot of our fighters look at holding that flag as if they are really fighting for the Mexican flag, the heritage, the pride. But it's not the same coming back from the fans. Conor Benn has a real opportunity here. He has a real opportunity to be fan favorite in Las Vegas when this fight takes off because, one, Ryan is faking it in many ways, and I'm going to get into that too. But he does look like he's faking it. What he said yesterday was like typical white boy response. You know what I mean? When you're from the LA area and you've grown up with a lot of Mexican people, that's the only two words white kids know that
Right.
can say back, right?
Like tinga to madre.
Yeah. So it was it just was not a good look. Conor totally won this press conference. I know Conor has a loss and he has his own critics over there saying he's nothing more than his father's shadow. His anger, aggressiveness just seemed a little bit more realer than what Ryan was delivering.
Mm.
And one thing I gotta say before anyone picks who they're gonna win on this fight was, yes, when Ryan looked like the crazy man against Devin Haney, he won that fight. Ryan also looked like the confident man when he fought Rolly Romero. He does not win that fight, right? And Barrios, we're gonna leave him to the side right now. Barrios is a great win for Ryan, getting him his title, but we have two different Ryan Garcias coming into a fight with Raleigh and with Devin. And that Devin one, he got popped. I know he doesn't. I hope he doesn't sue me for saying it, but that fight got taken away because he had a dirty test of whatever fucking thing he had in his system. So let's just leave it at that. Let's leave it on, hey, Ryan, it's the commission that took your fight away, not the Haneys, not me. So go sue the commission for lying about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're going by the record book. In the record book, it's a no contest. That's not our fault.
So his best win to date against the best resume is a little suspect. Then he follows that up with the Rolly Romero fight where he looks real confident. Oh, I'm going to end this guy. This guy can't be in the ring with me. He was saying all those things at the press conference with Conor Benn. I'm like, Ryan, you got to watch yourself. You really got to watch yourself. And then when they went face to face, Ryan needs to make sure this doesn't turn into what Conor Benn is saying, and it's a fighter versus a celebrity TikTok athlete, right? And I know everyone's going to point to the Barrios fight, right? That he beat. Barrios is not Conor Benn, right? Their styles are not the same. So you can't really just say because Ryan beat Barrios, he's probably going to beat Conor Benn. He's above. Styles make fights. Conor brings that no hold back mentality. We know Ryan ain't going to be able to do this, right? His Ryan shell, because it's not even the Philly shell, Miguel. It's the Ryan shell.
Right.
Is not going to work.
It's where he gives his back and basically bends over pretty much because he's done it. Even when my dad saw that, he's like, "What the fuck?" Like the referee should stop it if he's turning his back at this point. Like
at least a point. At least a point. Give him 2 warnings. Like, hey, are you okay? Is there some reason why we're doing this? Yeah, got to stay looking at your opponent, there, kid. But either way, that if he gets him doing that, Conor Benn might take over this fight easily on points, right? Ryan is going to go. Ryan has to make sure he doesn't convert back to left hook. Oh, here it comes. Right? Because that's all he was doing against Raleigh.
Sure.
And let's hope Conor doesn't turn into Barrios where he's not throwing enough punches. But I just don't see it. I do not see Conor Benn turning into Conor Benn. I think falls on the sword, dies on his shield, fucking of just coming straight at him before he turns into a shelled up fighter.
Do you think, and this is, I'm going to bring this up later on in the topic because when we're talking about Diego Pacheco in particular, because there's this ongoing trend from Eddie Hearn. When he's got the fighter, he's like, this guy is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Did it with Berlanga. Now, when Berlanga leaves him, he's like, Berlanga wasn't shit. Does it with Conor Benn. Conor Benn's like, wow, paid him with the fuck money. I wasn't going to pay them that amount. Now doing it with Shakur, saying Shakur's boring as fuck, right? I'm going to bring it up later on, but my point is, one of the things that he did say, Eddie, was that the fact that this fight's going to be at 147, Conor hasn't been at 147 in a hot minute, and having to drop back down is going to hinder him. Do you think that at all might play a role into this when you're thinking, well, I don't think Benn is going to start backing up. He's going to come forward and keep throwing. Do you think he's going to run out of gas, having to drop back down? He's a small dude anyway, but he looked way undersized fighting Eubanks. I don't know there's an S at the end of there, but fighting him twice at middleweight or whatever the hell it was, right? He was way undersized there, even though he did get one of those victories. But having to come back down, he can go balls to the wall early. But do you think he's got enough gas in the tank having to come back down to 147 to do that? Is that maybe Ryan's plan? Like, I'm going to take him into deep waters because he's coming back down.
Well, I mean, I guess we can check the where the money line is and where it goes on the gambling, because I'm guarantee you that's what they're looking at. on far as even if he makes weight, what's he going to look like? What's he going to be in the final 4 rounds of the fight? So that's going to play big. We don't have inside information to know how good Conor makes these divisions anymore, right? Like, do we have any history off top? Did he ever not make the welterweight division? Was he ever lost it at a scale? You know what I mean? Or where he looked dead, you know what I'm saying? Where they were holding him up basically before he weighed in. If there were things like that, obviously this is going to hinder his performance against Ryan, right? Outside looking in, you could say, yes, of course it is. He was fighting at what, 160 for 2 fights? Now he's coming back to 147. It's got to do something. He is young, so, doable. One thing that I believe is in the contract is that there is no rehydration clause. So that was cool on Ryan's part. But if you listen to Ryan, he absolutely believes, he doesn't even think Conor's making weight. He said that. They don't think they're going to make weight, and that there's no rehydration clause. So Ryan is going in again with just the confidence that his skills alone, like he did with Tank, is going to beat him. Who cares about what weight we are, what we have to come in at? Let's get this fight on, which is a cool attitude to have, except you're 1-1 on doing that, right? Now, Oscar and them told you not to do this shit, and you did it, and you lost. Or you're 0-1 when not caring about who's weighing what, right? Excuse me, you're 0-1. So, absolutely think the 147 is going to be something somehow involved in this story at the end of this fight. Yes, sir.
All right. I wish I remembered the guy's name, but during the press conference, somebody asked a question that I was shocked. It was like, I got, we criticize the MMA media and boxing media quite a bit because they always ask these softball questions, right? Because they know they might get their credentials pulled if they start really pushing. But a lot of the boxing media is doing this. I'm noticing in recent, they corner Dana all the fucking time right now, it seems. And they asked both Conor and Ryan this question. Hey, you guys have a bit of a history with failed drug tests. Are either of you concerned about the other guy, juicing or whatever? And they both said they weren't. Of course, obviously they weren't going to just admit the truth or anything like that. They're just going to be like, nah. And Ryan threw that out there saying, I don't give a fuck. He could come in juiced as much as he possibly can. I'm still going to whoop his ass, yada, yada, right? Kept the ball going. It was good. But I got to give props. That was a good question because, realistically, we see it on both ends. You pointed out very well after Conor tested positive and then came off. It's been pure decision since then. And then the same thing for Ryan after he tested positive with Devin. His next fight, he ends up losing against Rolly. Right now, he has since redeemed himself, right, with getting the belt off of Barrios. Which, no shade on Barrios, but maybe he didn't need any juice to beat somebody like fucking Barrios. But point is, very legitimate question. Do you think that plays roles in this?
I think it's safe to say I might have been the only dork that had Barrios potentially winning.
No, we did. I did too.
Did you? Okay.
I thought Barrios.
If you didn't, bro.
I thought he was going to let his hands go a little more. Shit.
Okay. All right. Then maybe boxing was probably the only outlet. I do because that was a real. I forgot who tweeted that out, but that was something after the fight was like, hold off on all the props we're giving Ryan for winning the belt. There wasn't a single soul that had Barrios winning tonight. And I was like, shut up, shut up. So there's always that part. But yeah. What was the question you were asking me right now, though?
In regards to their positive drug tests, either one said that they weren't concerned about it. Do you think that's going to play a role to any degree? Like, are we going to hear anything to have to do with that afterwards? Somebody pissing hot or something like that? Do you think that's going to, you think will be in each other's heads?
The WBC belt is involved. They should be in a drug programming system right now. I want to say that's what Haney and Ryan are beefing over right now, right? Didn't Haney come out and say, I'm not even tested? Suleiman then was like, hey, asshole, you are tested. Don't come out saying stuff like that. I think he said you're tested 70 times within a certain time frame. So I don't know why Haney. I don't even know why Haney would have come out and said something like that. But if we go back to Ryan, I think they're both being tested right now because the belt is involved. So that shouldn't play into this fight. Ryan, either one of them get caught again, it's kind of curtains for your career, anyways. You turn into just a drug user, you know. So I don't see them. I think they're looking at everything they're putting into their body, or at least trying to get the cycle down to a perfection at this point on in their career. One thing I wanted to say about when you talk about the hard questions from the media, I believe all promoters that are not under the Zuffa, what's the other one? Seal? No, what's
Sella.
Sella, excuse me. Zuffa Sella promotional banner. Your skin needs to get a lot tougher. If you want the media to expose what Zuffa is doing, where it's fighters' payouts, fighters' careers going forward, the questions that are being asked to Dana seem to be a lot tougher nowadays than they were, back when they were just in the MMA. If you want all that to stay the same, you got to take it on the chin every once in a while too, right? A good part of that would be Eddie Hearn's the matchmaking for last night's co-main event, which we won't have to. We're not talking about the fight, but the co-main event sucked. Okay, it was bad. It was so bad, Miguel. Mora is asking for an ending to the fight in round 2. In round 2, bro. He's like, they need to stop this. The referee needs to. What's the referee? He's like, what's the referee doing too? I'm like, Mora, we're 6 minutes in. If I'm the ref, I'm not thinking about like, oh, wave this off. These guys are making serious money on that level. You got to give more than that. So Eddie should have took a few of those questions, like what happened in the co-main event. You know what I mean? How did you have a guy that was so far away from, it's just a mismatch. It was a mismatch. HBO used to do it all the time. HBO would call out the mismatches on their network. So I think the promoters need to get tougher so that they stay tough on Zuffa's side. And to be honest with you, I would actually embrace all media right now. Miguel, media is what pushes this at the very end. You want people to like your show. You want people to keep telling everyone else that you need to watch this. This is a great fight. The UFC, we'll talk about their numbers, just aren't living up to what boxing has. So who knows, even if that whole model of, we're going to really, create our own media bubble, we don't even know if that's working. It is inside of their pockets as far as striking these deals that they never make or match. We heard that guy report that, right? Every deal they've gotten so far has not performed to the level that the guy who signed them thought it was. And Paramount definitely looks to be on that fucking track again. But, we will see if I'm the other promoters. I'm almost embracing all media right now, even the guys that talk shit. As long as they like these fights, the Rolly Romero Teofimo Lopez fight, a great example of you need media to get that fight out there, right? That fight is going to get 20 views. If you take the Dana White route as we're gonna media, fuck them, we're just gonna show it. Hey, it's a great fight on the zone. Watch it. If Eddie Hearn just comes out and says that, I guarantee you no one watches that fight. You need media. So I do agree with you that they are asking tougher questions. And if I'm Golden Boy and Top Rank and PBC and Matchroom and Queensberry, I do not get upset. I actually embrace it. Maybe even start talking about the beef, even with the small guys. Not mad boxing. Please leave me out your mouth. But
no, let's throw that in there. Any publicity, get our names out there. Why not? And be like those fucking 2 bald dudes, those 2 shaven head Mexican Latino guys. It's like always talking about the Mexicans that I bring over to the Matchroom cards. Like, yeah, Eddie, that happens. But we'll be talking about Eddie a little afterwards when we talk about Diego Pacheco as well. But definitely having to do with that. My pops came in to say good morning.
Nice. Very cool.
He
made his appearance.
He made a quick little appearance. Yeah.
Talk about him way too much, Miguel. That's awesome.
For him to do a quick little cameo.
Yep.
But one of the other topics that had to do with this particular fight is Oscar De La Hoya not showing up. You know, one of the things that one of the selling points that Oscar was throwing here at us, if you remember the specific announcement that he had, him recording himself on his phone, Oscar saying, "Yo, we got it done. We got a done deal. You know, thanks to Sella and Golden Boy Promotions." Made it a point to leave Zuf out there, but he threw that in there, right? The first press conference, and he doesn't show up. I mean, what the hell? I've heard bits and pieces of what that could potentially be, but I mean, what the hell was that about? One of the selling points was that we might get Dana and Oscar on the stage bickering back to one another. And again, all props to Ryan and Conor for doing that themselves. But I mean, come on now. Why do you think Oscar wasn't there?
Maybe it's too early for the fireworks, right? Get closer to the fight. It'll go viral, help the selling point. So that is my reason. We're going to talk more about the exposure of both what they said about Ryan being bigger coming from.
Oh yeah. That's like the second portion of this because
so that's my answer to Oscar. Is I really think they're leaving the main event for a little bit closer to the fight week.
All right, that makes sense. Ryan, and again, this is one of what props to the media for asking these kinds of questions. Asked Ryan, "Hey, what involvement, to what degree was Oscar involved in this actually making the fight happen?" And Ryan looked a little lost, like he didn't know what to answer. He had the mic and he was kind of like looking around, almost like seeing if somebody else can jump in and kind of help him with that question, and or looking around and saying like, "Can I just say it?" Kind of like almost asking for permission that he can say it, but he says not a lot, like not a lot really. So now it's like, okay, well, we're seeing Oscar, come out here and say, "Thanks to Golden Boy Promotions and Sella, we made this fight happen." And now we're here. And again, it's not like Ryan is the most reliable source anyway, but he's in there, right? So he says not a lot, according to him. And then one of his own other guys on the table, I forget who he is, jumps in and kind of takes over, grabs the mic and says, "This is Ryan Garcia Promotions. This is a co-promotion fight. And, this is us. They're just part of it, like a partner or something like that." Right. So didn't really make it seem like Oscar was involved, although we have to assume he most definitely was. I mean, per his word. But like, man, what the hell? Not only does he say that Oscar wasn't really there involved, but Oscar doesn't show up. We already talked about why Oscar didn't show up. But how in the world is Oscar posting these videos on social media saying, "Hey, Golden Boy and Sella, we did it," and then now we're hearing Ryan say, "Yeah, he barely had anything to do with it"?
As far as I know, his name is going to be attached to this fight. You see Golden Boy Promotions on the banner.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Look, we had said it last week when we got the information that he sold 2 fights to Turkey. Didn't we kind of question ourselves, go, what was Oscar's involvement? And we're like, probably nothing. When you give the rights to your fighter away, why do they have to now call you and ask you anything? Right? That's it just, to me, it's common sense that no, Oscar was not involved. They did not need to contact him. They needed to contact DAZN. And I think that's why we had that peace meeting. It might have been for AJ versus Fury, but it also might have been for Ryan versus Conor about how are we going to do this TV rights thing, right? We know Ryan's exclusive to DAZN, but your guy Oscar over there sold us his fight, and we don't want, we want to put it on Paramount. They had to come out with the deal. Obviously, it didn't go to court because they were able to strike a deal. It would have ended up in court, I think, though. I don't think DAZN would have let Ryan walk for free. And they actually, now that the dust is settling more, it does seem like in America, it's going to be exclusively Paramount that is getting to show this, which is kind of sad for the American viewership that bought into DAZN. And you've seen it through some of the other media members, podcasters, a little upset about them not getting it on the DAZN app. But they got Conor in the UK and in Ireland. And those are 2 areas where he's very popular, and DAZN has a big market. So it's like they're using Paramount's guy to get viewerships on their side, and then Paramount is using DAZN's golden guy, which is Ryan, to get viewerships on there. So they kind of traded. Now I don't know what. Obviously well, no, Paramount's not Netflix. The market might even be the same because the UK has a huge market in. DAZN has a huge market in the UK and Ireland. That's that's where they started, right? Paramount, what did we say it was? 20 million, I believe, 25 million, something like that. It very well could be the same, that they're trading their number one fighters over to get viewerships for both. So while when they say Ryan is coming back bigger from Paramount, you can also say the same for DAZN, who a lot of their guys that wanted to see Conor Benn fight Ryan, if they don't have the subscription to DAZN, now have to buy DAZN. They're getting not forced isn't the right word, but they have to go to DAZN to watch the fight, basically. So to me, it's a fair trade.
They're not given too much of a choice, at least in that aspect.
Yeah, exclusively is exclusively. I just don't know why they didn't say exclusively for Paramount. Globally doesn't, unless Paramount gets the show wrong. No, exclusively. They just worded the shit wrong. Globally, to me, sounds like you get everything, bro.
Yeah,
that's what that word sounds like to me. I don't know if I'm wrong. If this new fucking timeline we're in globally is not that. Is that a Mandela effect word? We got words that are in the Mandela effect now, Miguel. They don't mean the same, but to me, globally meant fucking globally. You know what I'm saying? So no, I think it was more of a fair trade, and it's one that DAZN needed to put up a fight on. Turkey, if this fight don't make a lot of money, he might not be too into doing this again.
Well, if you listen to Eddie Hearn, he kind of made it seem like it was a fair deal. Yeah, he goes, "Do you think DAZN is just going to let the motherfucker walk? You know, Oscar's just going to let him walk?" Specifically, he mentioned Oscar, and realistically, like I guess not, right? But it at the beginning, at least initially, it looked like that. We're like, how the fuck is he gonna? Now we come to find out that doing so pretty much secures a couple more fights on DAZN for Ryan. So they lent him out, so to speak, on the condition that, all right, now that, you know, if you end up winning, and chances are he's going to be a heavy favorite, right? And on top of other things, because everybody, from all the predictions that I'm already hearing, they're already leaning towards Ryan Garcia winning this one. So presumably that he's going to go to Paramount, beat Conor Benn, become more of a star, and then have to fulfill the remaining 2 fights or whatever with DAZN specifically. And that could mean just Ryan, or Ryan and Oscar, because we are hearing that Teofimo Lopez signed an exclusive deal with DAZN without a promotional company, without Top Rank, without anybody. It's just him. I don't know if that's the case also with Ryan coming back and fulfilling however many fights DAZN is going to want, or is it him and Oscar? So looking at this now, it does make more sense. They're trading talent, I guess you can say, for streaming services, and then everybody goes back to their own place, and then, you know, presumably maybe even bigger stars. Obviously, maybe not so much for Conor if he ends up losing this one, but that seems to be the deal. Now, that being said, if Oscar's not involved, we certainly will. I mean, not as much, because I mean, I'm assuming they did have to at least ask him to sign off on it, right? Maybe not put up any of his own money or something, or maybe even do any of his own promotional stuff. But presumably at least run it by him, be like, "Yo, here's the memo. Sign it. This is what we're gonna do. We just need your permission. You ain't got to do nothing else." And he's like, "All right, fuck it, whatever. Call it a deal."
I don't think so.
Not even
really don't.
Because I mean, he comes out and says it. No.
Look, I believe you. Well, he's trying to get a little bit of "I'm still powerful." Like, Oscar should have been honest with us from the very first Clapback Thursday and said, "Look, I gave Ryan to Turkey for 2 fights. I have no say in his next 2 opponents, and I'm out." But he didn't. He played us for the views. That's all that was going on there. He played us because he knew DAZN wasn't going to back off of Ryan. So he wanted to make it seem like he was still a part of that. It was never about Oscar. Oscar was already out of the picture when he signed over his 2 fights. It's a roll of the dice, though, for DAZN and Oscar. Yes,
Yeah,
it's because of Rolly Romero. because of Raleigh Romero. We've already went into a fight where we had all the confidence in the world that Ryan was going to walk away the winner, and he laid a freaking egg big time. You know, so just them going, oh yeah, we're going to send him over there. He'll beat Benn and then come back for 2 fights is not a guarantee. So it's a risk. You know, the reward factor. Ryan becomes bigger in the UK. You know, I just don't know if there's that many Ryan Garcia fans, unknown fans, that are going to be watching this Paramount card. Does it reach the masses like that? I will tell you that everything that I see the UFC, and I'm talking UFC social media feed put out on this fight, gets no love, dude. I'm talking under 500 likes. I'm talking, why are you showing this on our fucking UFC feeds? You know, their social media platforms. I don't even watch boxing. I don't even watch Zoo. You guys just go look at what the comments say under. There's not a lot of, oh yeah, dude, can't wait to watch this on September 12th. What a terrible fight. UK versus America, can't wait. No, dude. No. So I don't know how many fans they're actually going to be having that don't already know Ryan Garcia, you know? Now for Benn, different story. Probably a lot of Ryan Garcia fans that don't know who Conor Benn is.
Yeah, that's true. So you kind of touched on this earlier, I guess, but really, so far, round 1 goes to Conor Benn. You know, winning this specific press conference. I'm not sure if they're going to have, or how many more. I'm sure they will have a few more between now and then. But so far, he gets round 1, 10-9.
Because we've seen Ryan play the role before and it not work out. Conor had 2 great fights with Eubank where he had disadvantages in both of them, you know, going in. Yes, I'm gonna say the aggressor looked to be Conor. Like if both of them went face to face and they didn't have anyone separating them, I think I would have Conor would have been the one that reaches out, right? Where Ryan looked like he was just playing the, oh, you're gonna be crazy, so I'm gonna be crazy. All right, let's be crazy together. Where
it's like chest bumping in high school, like what?
And Conor actually, I want to say he might have a Fernando Vargas like approach. This could be Vargas De La Hoya all over again, you guys. But he's going to be saying, I'm the one with the bigger Mexican balls in this one.
Right.
I got the balls. I'm going to go after you. And he's going to try it during the fight. It might not work out for him, but that's what I see happening when this bell rings. And I think everyone thought Vargas was going to win when the night that. Now, I didn't. You know, I was 3 minutes off on that one. Dude, what year did that happen? Now it's
02.
I was gonna say 3. So I'm 22. I told my boss, Oscar by the 10th round. I said, Oscar, 10th round TKO. My boss put $300 on round 10. He never told me that, dude. Well, he told me after the fight.
Yeah,
he told me after. He used to gamble a lot. He had his own business, so he had all that VIP stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he was in the lounge, I guess, talking it up, drinking, and he's like, "Oh, Oscar's whooping his ass," and everyone's clowning him like, dude, he's that this Mexican kid is fucking from the barrio. He's gonna whoop his ass, save all this bullshit, right? Oscar's not man enough. Yeah, I was 3 minutes off, and he hurt with the left hook. Oh,
yeah,
that was
at the end of the round, right? Just a few more seconds left, and I don't know if he'd fucking last.
Yep. So I was 3 minutes off on that night from making my boss a lot of money. He would have gave me some because he had before, but yeah, dude, we almost. I was like, Frank, why didn't you tell me? I would have fucking gave you a big, you know, the last 2 or 3 rounds. Don't just go 1 fucking 3 minutes, bro. Come on. But yeah, no, that was pretty cool.
That's a good example. I wonder if we're gonna hear Todd Grisham do a fucking Jim Lampley, like, if he could beat this guy, if he can make him eat his words, you know, and then lose his shit, and he does. He has the most satisfying victory in his career, and he's like totally losing his voice, and he's spitting that out. I wonder if we're gonna get one of those
silk pajamas and fight. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think was it Foreman who said that? I think I forgot who it was who said that, but yeah, it's like guys in silk pajamas. Yeah, they can still fight. And you kind of hit it on the head earlier when you hear like the tough talk between both Conor and Ryan, because Conor has always had that. It's almost as if he was. I guess it's maybe it's because he's the son, right? And I guess not Joe Benn's kid, but that chip on his shoulder that comes on, that chip on his shoulder. He has that attitude. You've heard him have these early on in his career, these interviews with media and then with DAZN, and having Eddie Hearn next to him, and they kind of get into it a little bit because he has this like anger or something, a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be bigger than his pops or something like that. Like he's always has that. So it seems to have calmed down as he's gotten older. But when you hear the shit talk from Conor, you know it's almost coming from like a real, like authentic part of him. You know what I'm saying? And you can tell that it's kind of more so a front for Ryan. But you really hit it on the head earlier because it does sound like his is more real.
Yeah, no, it definitely, and it has gotten a lot better now with the 2 last payouts that this young man has received. Maybe since the Chris Eubank fiasco, right? Because those 2 fights are legendary over there. They got fight of the year. They sold 80,000 seats, like legendary fights. So I think he knows he's where his dad once was. He might not be better than his dad. No one might ever say that. But he's making millions. He's packing houses. He's putting on fight of the year candidates. And honestly, this potentially fight of the year, event of the year, because it's a crossover. If the promotions are good, fans tune in. They get big viewerships in DAZN and on Paramount. You're looking at potential, 3 years in a row for Conor Benn making huge noise in the boxing world. So that should ease the pain of being in your father's shadow just a little, right?
Yeah.
If not totally, he stepped out into his own.
Right.
This fight, matter of fact, let's tell him, this fight does that for him. This fight will, he'll go back to the UK a legit champion if he beats Ryan Garcia on September 12th.
And Conor, because we know you listen to our show, based off of our prediction of you talking smack in Spanish and your Spanish being a lot better than Ryan's, you win this one and you surpass your pops.
He says it so fluently, I think he can hold a conversation. I don't think he's just learning sentences in the limo as he's showing up to the event. You know what I mean?
On Duolingo on his phone, like, how do you say chinga tu madre?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Ryan, and we told Ryan, we said it, man. You need to learn Spanish if you're gonna be fucking doing it, and that probably goes to all Mexican American fighters. If you guys are really pulling that card, you gotta learn the language of the country. It is ridiculous to let someone of a foreign country come and talk the language that you say you're representing. Insane.
Yeah. And not just talk it, but talk it better, basically better than you, essentially win that specific, interaction using that same language. That looked bad on
Ryan.
That's like the best he can throw back at him. Like, oh gosh. And Conor was just like, yeah, bro, that was weak as fuck. Oh boy.
That's all you got.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, I guess it seemed an act of desperation on Ryan's part. Like, he wasn't saying anything in Spanish up until then. And then that's the first thing that came to mind because he's like, shit, I got to respond in Spanish somehow. And that's the first thing that came to mind. And he threw it out there. But really, it's like he had already lost that round, essentially.
It dug him a deeper hole. It really did. It dug him because I think everyone knew it was a fake. It was one of the most common ones you see Americans throw back. He looked like the American kid on the playground.
Yeah, the no sabo kid. That's what we call him. The no sabo kid. That's what he sounded like. All right. Anything else you want to add to that one? Because it was that was a pretty major one. Anything you want to add to that before we move on to the next topic?
No, sir. That's a good one.
All right. So staying on the topic of one Oscar De La Hoya, he recently, earlier this week, right after our Wednesday show, has come out and made a statement that they have come to a settlement, a resolution with Golden Boy Promotions and Vergil Ortiz Jr. As you guys know, they've been having this legal battle as I understand it, if I've been able to keep track with who said what, um, Vergil Ortiz basically wanted to get out of his Golden Boy contract, saying this guy could not land the Boots Ennis fight, and a bunch of other stuff. Of course, I'm sure added to that. And from what we're hearing, it seems as though it was Rick Meridian that was in his ear, saying X, Y, Z, and kind of fueling that particular fire. And we rarely, if ever, heard from Vergil himself. Only until recently, when Boots Ennis defeated Xander Zayas, that we've seen Vergil Ortiz go to social media and say what he needs to say. But let's go ahead and start with that specific statement from one Golden Boy Promotions. I'm going to pull it up here on my phone momentarily, but it seems as though they came to a solution, right? And now it looks like we're going to get the fight that we all want to get, right? Which is Boots Ennis and Vergil Ortiz. Damn it. I thought I had it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and read it. Golden Boy, right? Golden Boy Promotions and Vergil Ortiz Jr. reach settlement. They focus on the biggest fights ahead. Okay. Los Angeles, July 17th, so a few days ago. Golden Boy Promotions, Vergil Ortiz Jr., and Ortiz's manager, Rick Meridian, announced today that they have reached an amicable settlement. All right, amicable, involving or revolving around all outstanding disputes. Okay, cool. So they've managed to come to agreement with all of these disputes. The agreement includes the pending litigation and reaffirms the parties' shared commitment to delivering the biggest fights to boxing fans around the world. And this is a quote. Our relationship with Vergil has spanned more than a decade. We are proud to have played a role in the development of one of the sport's premier fighters, said Oscar De La Hoya, chairman of CEO Golden Boy. He goes on to say, we look forward to continuing our partnership with working together with Vergil Ortiz, Rick Meridian, throws that in there, and the rest of Team Ortiz to deliver the biggest fights possible for boxing fans. He goes on to say, I'm very grateful that Golden Boy, this is Vergil Ortiz. I'm very grateful that Golden Boy and I were able to come to an understanding and resolve everything, Vergil Ortiz said. I'm excited to move forward and to make the biggest fights happen, including the Ennis fight. And definitely made sure to name that one. My only focus is on delivering unforgettable fights for the fans, and I know my team and I will accomplish that together. Under the terms of the agreement, all claims between the parties have been resolved. Additional terms of the settlement remain confidential. All right, cool. So from what we're hearing, it seems as though that the whatever terms they came to are confidential, and we're not going to hear anything beyond that. Although we're already hearing some stuff leaking, basically extending the damn contract, having a few more fights added to, I believe it was a 3-fight deal. It seems as though one of those being the Boots Ennis fight. Vergil Ortiz himself has come out and had his own statement in addition to these quotes here. But before we get to those, Andrew, let me go ahead and throw you in on this. What do you think of this specific statement from Golden Boy? I mean, it seems as though everything is fine now, but no more than a few weeks ago, Oscar saying, I will never work with Rick Meridian again. Now he includes him in the statement here.
Yeah, it's not a good look for Team Vergil, Team Ortiz, Golden Boy, everybody involved. And it actually has gotten a lot of backlash, I think. I want to say this, the way they announced this coming together, resolution, putting it behind them situation, it did not go over well with the fans, boxing fans. Now, I don't know if that's going to affect his home crowd. Okay. The home crowd, he might be able to go back to Texas and they'll still get 10,000, 12,000 people and everything will look fine and dandy. I don't know if the guy from out of state is traveling anywhere to see you right now because of at least on your next fight. And we kind of at least went jabbed at this last time when they announced that, they're coming back. Everything's cool. We got this new fight. Fucking skip his next one. You know what? Don't tune in. Penalize him a little. You know what I'm saying? For this nonsense that they put us through, making this look like I thought the bridge was burned, dude. I thought it fucking fell into the water.
I think it still is. I think on the surface, because I mean, how bad is it when you say this shit against? I know Golden Boy isn't his boss necessarily, but it's his promotional company. But let's just use that as an example. You go and you say, "No, fuck this. I don't want to work for my boss anymore." And the boss like, "Oh, motherfucker, what?" And then they come to a resolution. You know, in the back of the mind of your boss is like, "Oh, I got this motherfucker. I got him." Right? I mean, there has to be some beef there. I think the bridge is still broken.
And maybe it is. Some think that it's possible that they planned all this to get out of the fight with Boots, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Um, it, so who knows what it is? It's a terrible look either way.
Mm.
Like I said, I don't think it helped Boots his fan desire anywhere but maybe, like I said, his home crowd. Maybe they're still there, but the fans outside of there turned off just a little. How about we'll tune in when you fight somebody already? I'm going to go down that path with Vergil, but I don't like this. Just it's all kumbaya all of a sudden over at Golden Boy. You know, nothing to see here, folks. We were fine. We were fine from the very beginning. We just didn't want that fight, and
Yeah.
it has affected him. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think his fan base grew on this announcement. If anything, it might suspect now, and they did change their tune, right?
Yeah.
So as much as De La Hoya and them want to run around acting like they're all ready, we're so ready now. Boots might not be ready, and I guarantee, and I'm all for it. I agree with everything Eddie Hearn and Boots is going to say in the next few weeks. They deserve it,
and they've already said it. They've already said it.
Yeah.
Right? Specifically, Eddie Hearn saying, "Hey, yesterday's deal is not today's deal, homie. It's a different story now. Now we got 2 belts. Now we have more leverage. If you think you're getting the same deal, you're dumb as fuck."
And he has an option. See, Golden Boy
Yes.
really don't have any options, man. I mean, yes, he could run to Al Heyman and say, please, 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 let's do Fundura. And maybe Al Heyman, because of their history, will give him that fight. But DAZN has Kelly. They double end that deal in his sleep, right? He could put that deal together. So he already has Boots and Matchroom himself and Kelly. Everybody's getting paid, right? He already has that check is sealed, man. He just needs to know, do I cash it now? Should I cash? You gonna give me enough money for the Vergil fight, or am I cashing this one? You go ahead and you let me know, right? That's all he's gonna do right here. Fundura is a great fight, but I think the real moneymaker for Matchroom and Eddie Hearn is the Josh Kelly fight because they double end the deal.
On the condition that Josh Kelly, because he's fighting next Saturday, which we'll talk about later, because we'll talk about on the Wednesday show. But he's putting his belt on the line on that Anthony Joshua undercard, so he's got to win, and then we still have the deal in place.
Is it a tough opponent? Is it a ranked opponent?
That I don't know. It's a tough opponent. Yes, it's a good opponent. I'm not too familiar with him. My only familiarity or however that word is with him is I almost covered one of his fights, but his opponent fell through, so that fight actually was scrapped from the card that I was going to cover as a member of media. So he looked great. You know, he's an Irish guy, as a matter of fact. I want to say Irish, and good fighter. I know that for sure because he's got a pretty decent record, if I remember correctly. That fight that fell through was supposed to be an IBF title eliminator, and the winner would eventually get Josh Kelly. Because that fight fell through and his opponent fell ill, he ended up just kind of skipping the line, or passing the line. But yeah, I haven't checked his record recently to like refresh my memory, but I think Josh Kelly should still keep his belt. I think
the fuckery might happen though
to ensure that he keeps the belt.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna have him miss weight, the challenger miss weight, and they're gonna fuck with the scale a little. Be like, oh, damn, dude, the fight will stay on, but yeah, you're not getting a title shot. Josh Kelly keeps the title. I'm just playing. There's none of that in boxing.
Of course not. There's not anybody like putting an extra foot on the scale, like, oh, 157 pounds. Like, what the fuck? That scale in the back's at 153.5. So this now leads to Vergil Ortiz's statement. All right. He goes on to say, this is his through his X account. I'm very happy that me and Golden Boy worked things out and are continuing to work with each other to make the best fights possible for the fans. I especially want to give my manager, Rick Meridian, a huge thank you. That's his name again. He was there for me when I was at my lowest, and he was there for me this time around as well. Rick stuck his neck out for me, knowing he would be slandered by everybody, but he did it anyway and weathered the storm. Every boxer should want a
Give me
manager
some.
like Rick Meridian. This is Virgil Ortiz's quote here. When I read this, I was like, okay, well, giving props to Oscar for getting the this thing resolved, and then of course his manager Rick Meridian. Which first thing that came to mind was, does Virgil Ortiz have access to his own social media accounts at this point? Is it like David Benavidez, his mom coming out saying like he doesn't have access to his phone, and is his wife sending out these things? Because boy, is he really buttering up Rick Meridian here. After what we've heard, people both Oscar and even Eddie Hearn saying, "What in the hell is Rick doing?" Kind of screwing this up. And we even had that same opinion from what we've read on our end. And now here's Ortiz not just saying thank you everybody for finally coming to this resolution, but an especially thank you to Rick Meridian. All right, Andrew, what do you think of his comments here and essentially giving extra props to his manager?
Well, this is a part of the equation where I say it backfired on him. What did Rick do here for Virgil? But protect him from fighting Boots. Virgil loses the fight with Ennis. Ennis goes on to fight Zayas, becomes a bigger star. That's not a positive for you. Virgil, with losing the fight with Ennis, loses millions of dollars. That's not positive for you. The third thing, Boots now has an extension with Golden Boy, which most likely extends with DAZN. So all that talk that Rick was doing about him getting him over to Turkey, Zuffa, whatever that was going on in the very beginning, is out the window. Where did he benefit besides you not having to fight Boots, Mr. Ortiz? Real suspect, dude. It's hella suspect. There was no winning here for you besides you get to say you didn't step in the ring with him.
Yeah. Let's take it a step further. Promoter Sam Lukowitz, if I can pronounce his name, is quoted to saying this: "Let him know regarding Rick Meridian, and you can put this on the record." That's what he says. That it looks like Meridian doesn't know how to manage his fighter. He could lose the fight with Fundora now because my friendship with Golden Boy is deeper than he thinks, Lukowitz said. What he did with Golden Boy is shameful, and to say and to say that is shameful too. So he wants us to make sure that's on record. The only thing he's doing is hurting his fighter because he doesn't know how to shut his mouth. Now, Rick Meridian has since clapped back at that and basically tried to like fact check him, but again, somebody like Sam Lukowitz who promotes Fundora. By the way, Ortiz is the interim WBC champ, so maybe a fight with Fundora can be made because, after all, he is the interim champion and Fundora is a legit champ. But we're hearing Sam Lukowitz say this, like, dude, what he's doing is shameful as shit, and he's ruining things because he can't shut the hell up.
Yeah, bad look for Rick if this happens again with another manager / promoter. Another big powerhouse guy in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go down this road a second time. But if he's being asked to by his fighter because he doesn't want to fight the 9 foot tall, 8 foot reach of Fundora, maybe that's it too. Because I really don't know anymore, Virgil, because you're hella happy about losing money in fights nowadays. I can't believe that's your response to you not getting the fight, then having Eddie Hearn basically come out and say you're not really getting the fight at the price you wanted. And then the fact that you have to work with the guy that you kind of threw under the bus at the end of last year. They get an extension. You actually got to go to his office more times now. This is all wins for you. Get out of here. Nah, planned. It's you never want to say a fighter's scared to get in the ring with certain guys. You hear of these things, right? What's really going on over there with Virgil Ortiz, man?
Yeah. Who's got a hold of his social media accounts? Because all this praising of Rick Meridian when everybody else saying the opposite, and we're on the outside looking in, so we don't know. Maybe they're right. At the end of the day, maybe they're right. I don't know. But from all the evidence, it's showing the complete opposite. They fucked themselves over. They put themselves in a worse position than they were prior to this, and it seems as though they limited their options so much more after this whole debacle. And you can't help but think that Oscar might be right here and saying, yo, I don't know who the fuck is in your ear, Rick Meridian, but now we're in the situation that we are because this home dude doesn't shut his ass up.
And can you imagine if he goes to the UK and wins another title and does it in the type of performance that he beat Zayat? Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Oh man, dude, that's like, and even Eddie Hearn was like, I mean, we don't expect him, to Virgil to like accept 80-20 by any stretch like that. He's not saying that either, but it's like, bro, it's not the same fucking deal. If Boots, if Josh Kelly keeps the belt, and maybe later this year we have Boots lift the belt off of Josh Kelly, the leverage they'd have would be fucking insane. And all this before Virgil even steps back into the ring. And this is not the first time that Virgil has gone out of the ring for large gaps, for different reasons, of course. But it sucks that we understand to some degree him not being in the ring because of health issues. If the health is fine, and then there's still another reason why he's not in the ring, this legal crap, he's really losing a lot of momentum. Whatever he's already built that he had to build again. All right. Anything else we want to add to that?
No, that is it.
Stop it. Are we back?
Yeah,
okay.
You're back.
Damn it to hell. It's not windy outside. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to call my internet provider. But I missed your answer. Was there anything else you want to add to that before we move on to the next one?
No, that is it, bro.
Okay, cool. All right. So we're going to cover some boxing that was yesterday, last night, Saturday night. Diego Pacheco was back in the ring in Carson, California at the former Home Depot Center, former StubHub Center. Now it's Dignity Health Sports Theater Park, whatever the shit is called now, in Carson, California. It has become a bit of legends in that particular arena, that outdoor arena. If you guys have ever been there, I've been there. It was where HBO held their last event that I attended back in 2018. Very sad. But it's the fights, some of the legendary fights that took place there, like Rio's Alvarado, I think their first one in particular. And then one of the Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez fights took place there as well. So oftentimes when you hear of fights taking place at this particular venue, for some reason there's something special about that venue that brings the best out of guys. And Diego Pacheco participated, had a fight there last night, defeating one Immanuwel Aleem by 11th round, I believe, if I got the round right, TKO. And securing his spot again. There's been a lot of criticism of Diego Pacheco in recent fights because of not finishing his opponents, basically decision after decision after decision. His last fight getting dropped. Again, he still wins, of course. He still keeps his undefeated record. And coming into this fight with Aleem, if that name sounds familiar, they've mentioned it several times before. He had an outstanding brawl against Lester Martinez in his previous fight. And quite frankly, I thought if Lester Martinez couldn't crack this dude, Aleem, and finish him, I did not think that Pacheco was going to do it. But holy hell, combinations, the array of punches, the repertoire, going down to the body, going back upstairs, it definitely is the kind of performances we want to see from Diego Pacheco. But are we taking too long with Diego? Are we at the point where it's like, yo, we need to throw him into the deep end now? It seemed as though they pumped the brakes on that because of his previous performance where he basically got dropped. But now he's back. This is his first fight with Buddy McGirt. maybe showed a new wrinkle to his game. He's still a young cat, I think, with 25. I think they said his age is. I forget the specific age. But before we get into some of the other topics, details of that fight, Andrew, what did you think of Diego Pacheco's performance last night with his first fight with Buddy McGirt?
Good performance. Look, that's after you get past the what the support looked like for him, what the crowd looked like, right? That wasn't impressive. The attendance, yes, that wasn't impressive at all. Once you got past that, once the sun went down, got kind of dark, looked a little bit more packed, then you could actually start seeing the skills come out. But at first, Miguel, I got to talk about the attendance before I talk about the fight, because I was sitting there like, how is this kid a main event? What are they protecting here? You know, hats off to Top Rank. Every time they put their guys in their hometown, does it not look like the place is packed? People are partying, standing up. When Clarissa Shields goes back to her place and fights in her hometown, doesn't it look like it's packed? They sold the place out. Like, Pacheco, what the fuck happened down in Southern California, man? You're 25 years old. You're 25-0. You're supposed to be the next big thing in Mexican American boxing, however you want to say it, American boxing. You're one of the faces that they say is coming. What happened there? Look, when I seen the co-main event was over and they were rolling into the main event, I was shocked, bro. They looked like there was maybe under 500 people at this place. Eddie gave a great excuse. It's a great excuse for a live reporter's question, but after thinking about it, it still falls on the promoter. So he blamed the weather. You heard that, right?
I mean, he didn't specifically blame it, but he threw that out there, kind of, I think, planting the seeds.
Well, definitely. He said everybody was at the bar because it was too damn hot.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some truth to that, but when it got so dark, you can't really see the top anymore, right? So did they just walk up and go, hey, we're blocking off the top here in the next fight. Everybody please go to the bottom. They do that every once in a while too.
Sure. I've done that myself. They've told me I got to the arena with my ticket and they're like, oh, we're upgrading you. I said, cool. They're already before the damn card even starts.
Nice. So yeah, they might have pulled something like that off, or the people were at the bar. Either way, the promotional company should have known what they were dealing with in the heat when they signed this fight. They got to look at all that, right? You're looking at everything that's going to hurt your event. Well, major red flag there, Eddie. Let's not do shit in the summertime if it's going to be, 90 fucking degrees.
Or outdoors, right?
Outdoors, and it looks like, 10 people are watching this kid fight at his hometown, hometown.
By the way, I know we're talking about different star power, but people pack the Caesars Palace outdoor pavilion in the fucking summer to watch fights, to watch De La Hoya and Chavez. Again, I know the superstardom is a different story, but when people want to go watch, they will sit in the fucking heat for the fight, period. They will do it.
That's absolutely correct. That is 100% real. And I also got to say, it kind of reflects where the Mexican fan base is right now with boxing. Here we had an undefeated young man on his way to either fighting Jaime Munguia, Canelo, Shiraz. Like, all of the big names are connected to this young man. There's no fight fans out there reading on the newspaper. Look at my age.
Nobody watching buying the magazines off the newsstands anymore. Nobody doing that anymore. Like, no, none of that.
Shut up, Miguel. All right. So nobody's into boxing where they know that this young man is fighting. There was no grandfathers like, you know what? I'm gonna take the grandkids, go down to see this young man Pacheco. He's undefeated. I tell you what, that's what my grandfather used to look at the boxing news that way on some of the local fights. He didn't know who the hell was fighting. He didn't know these people personally, but it's a fight. Tickets are reasonable. Why not go? Right? They had no walk-up fan base like that. They couldn't pack a very small arena just on the Southern California fight fans. It's a little scary where we're at down there. It really does seem like we're not. I mean, even the early 2000s, we were packing houses still. What's a good one? Rios versus Alvarado. Both guys are kind of past their prime. They weren't elite when they fought each other. Yeah, and they weren't even from Southern California. Yet
Right.
the place is packed. You know what I'm saying? Where were the fan base yesterday? This is not. Pacheco is a rising prospect who should be, I think, a little bit further in where they showed him. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the fight. I loved it. His offense was good. The body shot was a thing of beauty, right? Kept the pressure on, uses his height, his advantages. I loved everything about the fight. The opponent, okay. Now it's great that he knocked him. That was a great point that you made. That he stopped him. He did something Lester Martinez couldn't. So when I seen what DAZN has maybe for his next opponent, the names they put out, those 4 names are all great names, man. It was like, yeah, grab one of those guys and let's fucking do it. It seems like DAZN is over maybe Eddie Hearn's project with this young man too, right? Because all those names were a very big step up in class for him.
Sure.
Yeah, so it looks like his time of these little fights is probably over. It's time to throw him in the big waters now, see if he can swim.
Yeah, that's very true. And I by the way, when I mentioned that, I didn't think he was going to finish Aleem. Neither did Sergio Mora. Sergio Mora's prediction was, oh shit, it's going to go another 12 rounds here, right? But as long as he looked dominant, I think people would have been okay with it anyway. But he ends up finishing him. And as a matter of fact, there were a couple of times prior to the actual finish where it seemed as though the referee was just right there, really giving Aleem as much flexibility as possible and as much room. Like, all right, I can't be letting you take all these shots, but I'm not going to be too fast to hop in there and stop the fight, and really maybe even let Aleem take a little more punishment than he probably should have. But yeah,
that's a great point. That's the only thing flaw you could take away from Pacheco on this night. And they kept saying it. Did you hear what Mora kept saying? He needs to do a shoe shine. He just needs a shoe shine.
Oh shit! Okay, I
right?
didn't catch that. No,
Yeah, well, that's what he said it like 3 times. I'm not like he said it the whole fight, but at the very end, he did bring it up a few times that because Corona, is that his name? Ray Corona, the ref.
Oh damn! I forgot what the referee's name is, but
I thought it was. But
maybe you're right. Maybe right. Yeah.
Because he was so close to stopping it, just give him a reason.
Yeah.
So when Pacheco and his team look at the video, they can't take that away from this one. That all right, then when you're getting close, dude, it's time to do a little bit of show and and less power, more show shots. Try to get the referee to jump in. Yep.
Yeah, and we'll once again throw in Oscar and Fernando Vargas at that round. He's just like that right on the 11th round. Even if most punches were being blocked, but every third punch lands and it cracks them. It's like just shoe shine a little bit. Maybe not all punches will land, but some will, and it'll look bad enough for the referee to hop in there a lot sooner. So this is his first fight with Buddy McGirt. We talked about it, before. We saw what I think maybe another wrinkle in his the jab, and I've heard other content creators talk about that. Like you add in a jab, dude. What the hell? You with your length, letting guys get inside on you when you probably shouldn't have to. Don't need to. He threw in that additional wrinkle in his game there. It looks like the change from was it Benavidez Senior to Buddy McGirt was a good one, was a positive one. We don't know the circumstances behind why he left that team, because as I understand it, Pacheco was really cool with Benavidez and his family, and ultimately left to have his own, I guess, be the big fish in the small pond over here. That's my guess, of course. But so far so good. It looks like the move with Buddy McGirt is good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially because they said he brought in that body shot, and that was the thing of beauty he was landing on there. It hurt the guy multiple times. The body work, he just couldn't get the job done. Well, and he obviously ended up doing it. Just could have been a few rounds earlier.
Yeah.
If we're nitpicking,
Well, shouldn't we at this point? Like, we are wanting him to be thrown into the deep end, and I mean, we can only cut him a break so many times. Isn't it worthy now to nitpick?
Well, if he fights the champ and knocks him out in the 10th, but we thought it could be in the 8th, we can't continue that either. We're going to start sounding like haters, right? And be like, hey, you guys always have a problem with where he's stopping the guy. It's not like the dude went. It's not like the dude went 12, right? So he got it done. But I do agree with Mora, and that's something his team can look at, you know. But as long as you get the job done, you get it done.
It's like he clotheslined them over the top rope on the west side of the ring. He should have done it on the north side of the ring. Just to add more to that. So on that topic, the next possible opponent, right? A couple of them. Bully the Beck. That's the best way I can pronounce his name because I'm gonna butcher it like a motherfucker. Jose Armando Resendiz, or Resendiz as we like to call him, right? Lester Martinez, a former Aleem opponent who wasn't able to finish Aleem, but Pacheco was able to. And of course, the primary one, and that's just the graphics they put up there. But in the ring, they said Munguia, which is a fantastic fight. We've been waiting for it because, as I understand it, and they've explained it a few times, Pacheco had the opportunity to fight Shiraz. You know, he's like the mandatory for the WBO, and he was like, "No, I don't think I'm ready for it." He himself seemed to been like, "No, I don't think I'm ready for it." Very respectable, cool. If you're not there yet, admirable. I get it. You know, I'm not. I myself don't feel like I'm ready to get there. Believes in himself to know that he will get there eventually, and perhaps after last night's performance, that is going to be the case. But leaving Shiraz out for the moment because he's going to be also fighting on the July 25th card next Saturday on the undercard of the Prenga and AJ fight. So those are a lot of opponents, right? Even at the very end, the tail end of the post-fight interview inside the ring, Eddie Hearn threw in the Canelo fight as well. On top of that, right? He had his reasonings behind that. You know, maybe at this point, Canelo's kind of running out of options, right? So, well, these guys are available, right? The Shiraz and the Pachecos of the world. But that seems to be more of a distant thing, if at all, because by the time Pacheco gets there, maybe Canelo's already gone, which is fine. But it's not like he doesn't have a lot of options. He most certainly does. Okay. We're going to go with the first option, Munguia. I think we want to watch that one. According to Eddie, he wouldn't mind going back to that same arena and threw in, the Munguia fight there later in the year, like November, where it's a little bit cooler. It gets pretty chilly because I want to say October was the month of HBO's last event there that I attended, and it was fucking cold. It was hella cold, and it's outdoors, mind you. So maybe it might be too cold. I don't know. Maybe October is or November is a little bit too much. But regardless, he threw in Munguia. My guess is, well, Munguia's a Mexican dude, Southern California. If Pacheco can't fill the seats, Munguia can.
Yes. No, most definitely. Are you asking me that?
Oh, my bad. No, I was gonna just hand it off to you. My bad. I didn't really hand it. But yes, but it's not really a question, but kind of like add to that, please.
Yeah, look, I was impressed with all 4 opponents that they put out there. While I tell you that LA or Southern California is lacking in supportive boxing right now, that also means there's an untapped source out there right now. And maybe it just needs a little fire starter, right? Could Pacheco fill that gap? He looks to be a ticket seller. I'm not gauging the kid like, is he handsome? Would I date him? Not doing all that.
Yeah, you don't like the big ears and the Edgar haircut? No,
I'm not going to nitpick him right now on the show, but he looks like, he could handle his own in the club, right? If you asked a girl to dance, she would say yes. Let's go off of that one.
There you go.
So he looks like he should do good on both sides, selling tickets. He's young. He's undefeated. He's in the right weight class. He could keep attaching his name to Canelo, even though I would lean a little bit towards David because I just think the Canelo gap is too far to say that they're going to face each other in the future. When then in the next story that you put out on your boxing website is Canelo might end after McMillie.
Right, exactly. At least according to Bob Arum, he's already done. They're like, oh shit, I guess.
Yeah, so I would connect him more to like, maybe a potential mega fight would be him and David in Vegas. Where's David from? San Antonio?
No, Arizona, Phoenix.
Arizona. Oh, yeah, there you go. Arizona and LA will meet in Vegas for a big time showdown, something like that. What I do like though is all four of those opponents back in the day would have sold out LA. And that's what Eddie Hearn needs to look at and start trying to tap back into is the boxing community in LA. These names should draw all the Pacheco fans, not just his close family and friends, but I think 5,000, 10,000 show up for this fight, for any of these fights. And I even throw Lester Martinez in there. If promoted right, Martinez is undefeated. He's Argentinian. There's a big Latin community also.
Guatemala.
Or excuse me, I keep saying that too. Guatemala.
I tell that shit all the time, and I'm like, fuck, he's not from there. I always forget what other country. I'm like, Honduras, Puerto Rico, I forget. But
no, yeah. But you're but there's still a big presence down there of Guatemalan people. So I don't even know if I said that right, but
close enough.
Yeah, that can work for them.
Sure.
The Resendiz should be a sellout. Miguel, back in the day, this is a no-brainer sellout for any event down there in Southern California. And then the Munguia is fucking primetime boxing. I mean, you're getting what we would have considered a pay-per-view HBO Las Vegas fight. You're going to put in my hometown. Munguia versus Pacheco should have no issue selling out Southern California. Now, that's the old Southern California. I don't know what today is, but what I am telling Eddie is 2 of these fights I'm doing in Southern California, and I'm trying to tap into that real boxing money that's out there. And I guarantee you 20,000 will show up if you tap into the right fight fans out there. And Pacheco has these opponents are a great path to legacy right here if they can somehow work them back to back to back.
All right. Let me throw out a plan here because a roadmap, a little bit of a blueprint, more of a roadmap, I guess that's more accurate for Eddie Hearn, because Eddie listens to our show right religiously. So Eddie, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, let's do the Munguia fight, and let's go a little old school. Let's do Great Western Forum. How about that? The Forum, and that place hasn't been a staple in boxing in a hot minute. That used to be the fucking place. That specific arena that they're at, I think, holds 8,000 seats. I think that's what it is, like the specific tennis area. That's where they have tennis matches, basically, that Dignity Health Sports Park. There's a stadium right next to it that holds more, of course. I think it's like 27,000 or something like that. So if you want to do outdoors there, or 17,000, I think, is the capacity for Great Western Forum. Why not? That one sounds like a great fucking idea. I mean, at least to me, at least. To Latinos, and in particular Mexican and the Mexican American, doing it old school, going back to that Great Western Forum, which I think is called the Kia Forum now, but the Forum, we'll just call it the Forum. Why not? I mean, well, presumably, because again, the fan base down there is hit or miss now in recent days, but give yourself the best possible option or the best possible chances of success and go to the Forum.
Not only that, one thing we don't know about Pacheco, maybe you do, I don't. Does he speak Spanish? Is he tapping into the?
He does. It's kind of like me. It's a little choppy, but way better than Ryan, I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah. Then you put Munguia, you put him on every radio station, every big viral, whatever's going viral in the Spanish English community down there. That's a great venue. The old Great Western Forum. You're right. It's called Kia Forum now or something like that.
Yeah.
17,500 is the capacity, bro.
Oh, nice.
It's nice. That is a nice place. I'm telling you, I think Eddie can get this done with these opponents that DAZN has possibly ready for him to fight. And the fact that Southern California don't really have a star right now. Pacheco can be that guy. They can sell out this crowd, and you just need the right promoting. I'm not saying he's not a great promoter, Eddie. I'm just saying you got to work it a little bit different when you're coming to America with these Mexicans. I just feel you're not tapping in correctly. Call me. You could call me. I will talk to you any time of the day. But yeah, no, tapped into the right sources. I think this is a no-brainer sellout for Pacheco to be on his path to a really great career. We'll see how his chin holds up. He was getting smacked a little yesterday. I want to say one of them made him wiggle. He was able to get off of it really fast. So I'll give him that. His chin power, he came back really good. But he was getting touched. So obviously when he fights, you know, I don't know about Resendiz, but obviously Munguia and Martinez both look to be. Oh, and even Beck
Yeah,
the Bully is a
yeah.
power puncher. So yeah, he has tests and he has a few sellouts in there. I really do think 2 of these 4 fights can sell out for Eddie Hearn if done right.
Yeah, and yes, Eddie, give Andrew a call. He'll set you on the right path for sure. Because there are times where Eddie's promotional brain is questioned. I mentioned it earlier on the show, and I don't want this to happen, but I can almost see it now. He said these things about people who have left him. I'm trying to think of his name. Maybe he didn't talk shit about Hitchens, but Munguia, not Munguia, shit, Berlanga, most recently, Shakur, and I'm trying to think of somebody else. I mentioned it earlier, but it seems to be a reoccurring thing with Eddie. When he's got you, he's like, man, you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. We got the next superstar. You leave, then it's like, oh yeah, Shakur's boring now. You know, it's like, sounds like sour grapes. I hope that doesn't happen here with Pacheco. I hope that, you know, for some a weird alternate universe, Zuffa comes into play and offers Pacheco a nice amount of money where he leaves him, and now Eddie's like, yeah, he couldn't sell out that fucking Dignity Health for shit. He was, you know, like just totally throw him under the bus. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but per his track record, you know, and again, this is just hypothetically speaking. Maybe Pacheco stays with Matchroom his entire fucking career for all I fucking know. But my point is, in the event he leaves, and maybe he makes the jump over to a big, they offer him some money with Zuffa. We might hear these exact same words from Eddie Hearn. Hopefully not.
I mean, Miguel. I mean, seriously, Eddie's gonna say straight off top, we wanted him on a faster path to the belt. Unfortunately, they turned down the Munguia fight. The Zone, Matchroom, we were all in on Munguia. We were totally backing that he would beat him. It's them. They're just not confident enough. It's easy. Yeah. It's easy work, bro. Right under the bus.
Easy way to just clean your hands. It is like we signed it on our end. You know, we're just he didn't want to commit.
Yeah,
that's why he left. You know, or did whatever X Y.
And you know what I love about the Shakur one is he's like, he calls him boring and then goes, but when you're ready to work with us again, give me a call.
Yeah,
it's like
yes. Yes,
yeah,
he's like, what did they say? Once you're done having your tantrum, you can come back to us. It's like, why the fuck would he ever? Why? I mean, unless they offer him more money, of course. But I doubt he's already getting a fuck ton from Zuffa. So, and it's obvious that Matchroom is not going to match that, right? So clearly, it's like, yeah, when you're done having your tantrum, come back to us after I just talked all the smack and get paid less. Sure, why not? Come back. We have the doors open for you guys. Oh, Eddie. Okay, so taking a look at some of these opponents, we talked about Munguia. We already have the blue or the plan, right? Set the route for him. Which of these opponents do you think he has the best chance of actually beating? Because these guys are tough and they throw down and they fucking, you know, they land punches. We saw yesterday Pacheco does get hit. And again, we're not trying to nitpick there, but these kind of punches can't be landed, you know, these kind of clean flush punches by one of these opponents, because it could mean curtains for Diego Pacheco there. But Andrew, I guess we can kind of put them in order, starting with Resendiz. Does Diego have a better chance of beating him?
That was the guy I was going to go with. You start off with the one that
shit.
I thought. And that was because he laid such an egg against Munguia. You know what I mean? I don't know who Resendiz is right now. You know? Beck the Bully, good fighter. He's probably second on my list. And then it would be Martinez and Munguia. So yeah, but for LA, I would like Resendiz and Munguia to be the 2 fighters that he fights in LA to try to get his a 17,000 packed arena, and then you take that attendance and go, all right, now we're going to Las Vegas. Who's the big dog? We're going to fight there, and you could start negotiating. Last night, what are they really negotiating with? What we have this fight that we're totally in the red in.
Yeah, and when we were talking about his entrance to the ring, get with this singer, rapper, whoever the hell it is, and you question like, who's paying this guy? Because clearly the seats are fucking empty. They have to be in the red after last night.
If I was the promoter, and I don't even care if the young man says I'll pay him out of my salary or my check, you don't get a singer unless you sell out at least 90%, 85% of the venue. It is it is a mandatory. You fucking sell out. This is bullshit, dude. A singer coming out to 20 people. The fuck? That was ridiculous, bro. Like
it was like a nightclub, basically, like a full nightclub. It was nice, but we're talking about an arena here. You know, it's like I don't. Do you even know who he was? I don't know who this guy was.
No, I don't know who he was, and I like that you said maybe it was a lip singer because that's what the budget they had.
Yeah.
You didn't have performer budget. You had lip sync. You had the look-alike budget on that night. I mean, if I'm the singer, I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm ripping you off. I'm gonna give you half your money back. All right, let's do this. What the fuck?
It's like I got one over on you guys, and I feel bad. So I'm just.
Hey, if you're the singer, you're like, did you put my fucking name on this? I mean, this kind of hurts my reputation too, because you would think people would come to see that guy also, right? I mean, that's
right.
That was the thing when this all first got started, right? Is that you paid the performer thinking he was going to bring somewhat of a fan base himself. So.
Yeah. So the rub, as they call it in boxing. I mean, in boxing and wrestling, you are kind of a relative unknown. You have a good match with somebody who's more known. Now you're more known because you got the rub. Well, now we have Diego Pacheco, who might be, somewhat unknown, at least according to the fucking ticket sales. But we have this singer comes in. Oh shit, the singer is who's Diego Pacheco. Now people know who Diego Pacheco is. It seems like that backfired because it didn't. I mean, dude looked like he was in disguise. He's like, I don't want to be associated with this. I'm gonna put on glasses. I'm gonna put on a big wig and just be out here lip singing. Like, who the fuck is this dude? Nobody knows. And apparently, that's a good thing because maybe when he takes out, it's like, "Ooh, watch it be fucking peso pluma." And he's like, "Oh, thank God, that's over with." That fucking sign that check to me, please. And let me see. I'm looking at. Oh yeah, we talked about this. All right, cool. I know I want to throw this one in at the very end because it's the only mistake that I caught. And, when it happens so regularly, I'm trying to not look for them, but they're pretty obvious now. There's been a lot there has a lot been spoken about the recent error Zuffa Boxing had with naming Shakur Stevenson on screen. I forget the specific name, Jalen Williams, I think it is, some NBA star, or what the fuck it is. I forgot where the hell he's from. Anyway, point is, when Dana White was asked about this, he was like, bro, we're the worst at this. We're the fucking worst. Dana, I agree. You are the worst. But who's right up there with you guys? It's fucking DAZN. I don't know what the hell. Do they have the same graphic guy at this point? I'm not entirely sure. I saw it recently with O'Shaquie Foster having the wrong weight on the damn thing. It's like 200 pounds or something, or 198 or something. Like, what the fuck? Mind you, this was the ceremonial weigh-in, not the actual weigh-in. But it was funny that these guys just keep dropping the ball. And last night, it happened again. They were announcing the Itama next fight, right? His next fight that is scheduled for the 29th of August. The graphic showed 25th of August. I was reading it and I was like, 25th, and I see it and I don't remember the date right offhand. So I'm thinking, the ring announcer, I'm trying to remember his name. I always get his name wrong, but Corey something or other, I forget his last name. He says the 29th, and I'm reading it and it's saying the 25th on the screen. I'm like, 25th, dick. Well, apparently he was right. It was the damn graphic that was wrong. It actually is the 29th. And I was like, oh gosh, but here we go again with doing it. If it's not the sound, it's the graphics. If it's not the graphics, it's the sound. DAZN shouldn't be making these mistakes anymore. Go ahead.
Or how about the feed? What was my argument to them back in the day? Fucking pausing the way it looked. Let me tell you, when I go over my friend's house, wink, wink, that has one of those illegal boxes, why are we not getting any freezing? How the fuck is the illegal box streaming better than your actual app on some nights?
The paid subscription.
Yeah, that has to be corrected. And I don't know if it happens to you, if it's just my cable. I don't know what it was, but that used to be.
It happens to me. It happens to me.
Yeah, that used to be my biggest pet peeve with them, dude. was it fucking the way that thing froze all the time on me during the round, during the, when it mattered the most. Yeah, illegal boxes. That's the way to go, Eddie. Don't please.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe the zone is just not getting enough of those $500 ultimate packages subscriptions, and they're like, well, fuck it, we're just gonna phone it in and just kind of half-ass it. But that's the only error I saw. If you guys happen to have watched any other ones or caught any other ones, by all means, let us know, because that's the primary one that I saw. What were you gonna say? Sorry, I thought you were gonna say something.
No. Oh, Garcia, Ryan
Oh.
was just caught in his fourth World Cup jersey today. He's at the World Cup, it looks like, wearing an Argentina jersey now. Now, what's funny about that is, didn't the young man, like, I don't know, a few podcasts ago, or what do you call it, a few reels ago, didn't he say he was part Spanish also? Remember when he did his alliance to Ronaldo
Oh, that I remember. Yeah, I don't remember
didn't
if
he
he
also
claimed
say,
it. Yeah.
and I'm also Spanish? That's when I said, dude, this guy is one team away from fucking telling us who his mom dated. You know what I'm saying? Rooting for them, because now he's going. Well, my grandfather was part this also. So I think if it's gonna be hella funny if he got actually confused on about what his bloodline was, and he actually already told people he was part Spanish, but now he's rooting for Argentina in the same week. That's the character you're dealing with when you think of Ryan Garcia. Can we believe him? Can we really believe him? But yes, fourth jersey, that's gonna hurt your fan base with the real. And I hate saying the real Mexicans, but the Mexican fan base out of Mexico, right?
Right. Right. And that is true. I mean, it's like you could only claim so many flags, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you there's such a thing as dual citizenship, so I'll give you a break on two, but
right.
that's it. But don't be like, yo, yeah, my mother did hook up with this Argentine guy one time, so boom, I'm there. Like that doesn't count. Well, my dad, he did, did some stuff in the closet with his one Spanish chick, so boom, now like that's not how it works, dude. Sorry.
Definitely.
Anything else you want to add to this? And just one more thing. Why not just throw it in there? If you got a pay-per-view, if you purchase a pay-per-view on DAZN, you can't stream it on two devices. Cannot. So anyway, I always want to throw that bone to pick in there with DAZN to add to the cherry on top of everything else. Anything else you want to add to that before we move on to the next topic?
No, sir.
All right. So a drastic change to this weekend's card in Australia. Tim Tszyu taking on Errol Spence Jr. in the main event. We'll go into detail on that fight on our Wednesday show. We're not really talking about that one, but the breaking news, I guess, as of a few days ago, is that the co-main event is basically done with. It will not go through. It will not take place because of one Jermall Charlo that was not able to get over to Australia. One would think this is ironed out at the time that you signed the fucking contract. Maybe they just thought they can get things fixed between the time that they signed the contract and fight time. But I would assume, Andrew, if you're going on vacation to, I don't know, Germany, you're like, oh shit, let me make sure my passport is not expired or whatever, right? Those are kind of the important details. I'm going to throw in what Dan Rafel started with here. This was before, all right? Per sources at PBC and TGB, officials do not believe Jermall Charlo will be granted a visa to travel to Australia in time for his scheduled fight next Saturday on the Spence Tszyu undercard. Now, there's a second part to this. I'm going to read it here shortly, but I want to throw this in there because, we're not that well known of a channel yet, Andrew, but I'm going to give us as much fucking credit as we possibly can. Because when we mentioned this, when we heard rumblings of this, rumors that Charlo wasn't going to be able to head on down to Australia, the down under, you thought, oh, probably because of his damn, legal issues. Well, according to Dan Rafel, he says Charlo was to travel to Australia earlier this week, but because of his past legal issues, his visa has been held up. All right. Before we talk or we go into Charlo's own quote, Andrew, were you surprised when you heard that it is officially off? Did you think they were actually going to get everything resolved in time?
Yeah, like you, Miguel, I thought it was possible somebody was like, don't worry about it. I know someone that's going to look at your case a little differently than we look at everyone else's. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Um, 2024 and 26, he has two drinking while intoxicated charges, which we know that that's looked at serious now. So it could have very well have been those two that, let alone, triggered
Which are
or
recent, by the way. A couple years
yes,
ago. Yeah.
yeah. And then one of them, he had to be pulled out of the car by gun. Yeah, he doesn't just get out. They do the whole scene, make him get on his knees, I believe, and all that. The one that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back, though, is 2022. He had a arrest for a felony assault charge. Now, it doesn't look like the felony assault charge was like he did a lot. He basically manhandled a waiter. It looks like a little too much. Is that when his credit card was declined, possibly? Remember that little
22,
incident?
you said?
Yeah,
2022?
2020, 22.
That might have been it. That might have been it.
They had a big party. They weren't accepting the cards. Yeah, so he has but that when that comes across the computer, I don't know if Australia's like, okay, pull out that case. We want to see what actually happened. No, all they're going to see is felony assault charges. Like, dude, you're violent. You're drinking twice while intoxicated. One time, the cops are pulling you out. No, he's not coming in. That's that.
And I'm going to throw in this example, even though it's a different country. But I once dated somebody whose sister was a Canadian citizen, but it took her forever to get to that because when she was younger, she had a DUI. Like even that, and again, I know it's a different country, right? Different policies, everything. But my point is, when you have these things, these nasty stains on your record that are serious, it really puts into question whether or not they're going to allow you in, right? They like, bro, they're not going to, what's the word? There may be a story behind the numbers and the felonies and everything, but they're not going to dig that into the, like, okay, we're going to make sure this co-main event that we can totally do without, and there was, I think they even announced his opponent no more than like maybe a month ago before they had fight, right? So I'm sure they kind of half-assed it and said, fuck it, toss the motherfucker out or don't let him in. So sure. Okay, yeah.
You remember Mike Tyson? I forget what country denied him, but even Mike Tyson was denied entry into a country one time because of his rape conviction. And that's Mike. You know what I mean? You would think everyone was like, all right, we all know. It's not that we all know about it. A lot of people have forgiven Tyson for that one incident because
he's done his time. He's done his time,
and it was only one time, right? So some guys will look past it. Well, there's some countries that will not look past a conviction is a conviction, and that's a violent one. If there's what is it, regulations or rules that you cannot have any on your back criminal record, well then you're fucked. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So this was before it actually happened, but according to Dan Rayfield, that was the situation. It has since been confirmed. Yes, he will not be fighting on that Sue Spence undercard and co-main event, I guess, spot. So sure enough, he goes to his social media to throw out his statement. Unfortunately, I will not be able to fight next Saturday. I've been training nonstop for the last 3 months and was ready to make a statement in the win. Not here, literally. I want to apologize to all my fans. I let them know I will keep training and be back on a PBC event very soon. All right, so he goes on and lets us know, yes, it is official. It is confirmed. I will not be fighting. As far as I know, prior to when this actually happened, there was even some suspicion that Stephen Fulton wasn't going to be able to make it to Australia. I don't know if he has any issues whatsoever, but legal issues, I meant to say. Clearly that wasn't the case because he got in there, very quietly. Of course, though, people did see him now a bit recently, recorded him at an Australian airport. So he's there. He made it. There was some worries that he probably wasn't going to be able to make it either, but he made it. All right, cool. So Stephen Fulton is there. Charlo, no. Andrew, I like this stance. He's apologizing, right? I don't like this Unfortunately, I've been, I'm not going to go, I've been training nonstop for the last 3 months and I was ready. Well, clearly you didn't get your shit straight in 3 months, your legal stuff, bro, because like you couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? That I don't, it almost seems like he's coming at us from a victim standpoint. Like, I was training hard, I was dieting, yada, 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 yada. Dude, you knew you had those fucking things on there, right? Like, what happened that this fight got signed that ultimately didn't keep you? Really, did people think they were just gonna toss that shit to the side? I don't like that part. I like the apology saying, "Yo, my bad, I wasn't able to get it done," but leave the rest part out because, of course, we know you were training, fool. Like, don't try to make it seem like trying to build sympathy for himself. I didn't like that part.
Yes, and that is what he was doing. Now, on his defense, you got to say it was the Zoo team that dropped the ball on that. I don't think Al Heyman has any connections over in Australia that were going to clear him of this visa issue. This has to be someone on Zoo's team, their management team, that whoever they're putting the fight on with. Even though I think it's Zoo Promotions, right? That no limit,
yeah, the no limit people, yeah,
no limit one.
I know it's PBC also because it's PBC pay per view, but they're just part of it.
I think all Al Heyman and Charlo could do was be honest when they first signed and said, "Look, these are the charges he has. Can you guys see if he's going to get cleared?" And it had to have been someone on Zeus. Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I got, my sister's husband works down at the office, and it didn't come through. I mean that, and you're right. That 2026 DWI don't really have an excuse for that one, right? It's too close. We didn't say, oh yeah, I quit drinking the next day. Like,
Right.
not too much. There's not too much history there to go on as that you've been a straight guy, straight shooter since this arrest. You know what I'm saying? So, it was never looking good for them. I don't think this lands on the ball doesn't land on their side though. I think this was Zoo's side that dropped the ball on getting him cleared. You have to remember Bob Arum did this one time for, I want to say, Valero. Valero had the plate in his head, which wasn't getting him allowed some fights.
That does ring a bell.
Yeah, and Bob knew he got some politician into office through Manny Pacquiao. He had Manny Pacquiao show up to he had him show up to a what is it called when they promote
A press conference.
no, to the fans. Oh man, a rally, sort of like a rally.
Okay.
Right? They had Manny Pacquiao show up, and like 20,000 freaking Filipinos showed up to this place, dude. So they all went and voted for him. So he used that to get this judge to sign a waiver, or get this politician to have a judge sign that Valero could fight.
Oh man, I hadn't heard of that story.
Yeah,
at least the resolution. I remember him having a problem with Valero at that moment, but I forgot what the specifics were of it.
Yep.
So we're not going to get, the Jermall Charlo fight on the undercard, the co-main event that was supposed to be. So, they're gonna they're gonna fill in some of their. I don't know if they're going to just scrap the fight entirely or they're going to find a substitution. But since this has happened, there has been somebody coming out to basically call out Charlo and say, you know what, dude, if you can go to Australia and fight over there, don't throw away your training camp. Let's do it here. One Demetrius Andrade, or Andrade, however the fuck you pronounce his last name, has come forward and said, "Let's make the fight happen, bro. Let's do it. Let's fucking, let's get the crack-a-lack." And seems highly unlikely that we'll be able to put something like that together on such short notice, but it sure does. It sure does seem a little desperate on Andrade's Andrade. On his part, he's been basically gone since the loss to Benavides. We have yet to hear from him, and now he comes out and says this. It just seems like what? I can understand Canelo's response when he crashed his press conference. It's like, man, get the fuck out of here. I'm not gonna take you seriously, homie. I'm sure nobody's taking Andrade here seriously, but he comes out and he's trying to kind of sort of save the day, not for that card, because again, it's not going to be for that one, but he's saying, yo, you need a fight here in the US, I'll go in there. Clearly it's not going to happen, but Andrew, is this admirable on Andre's part to kind of come forward and say, yeah, or does it not reek of desperation?
a little bit of both, right? I like his energy. He was willing to step in and put on a decent card for Al Heyman. Look, if Al Heyman, the story is that both of them are like preparing. They're on the same timeline, I guess, to have a fight here really soon. So why not just cancel Andrade's, whoever he's fighting, drop him and fill Charlo in and move on with that date, that venue. I guess they're the same weight, and it all matched up. So if Al Heyman was willing to do that, if he had the money, the budget to make that change, well, then fucking Andrade's an awesome dude. He stepped in and saved a fight for Al. He gave us somewhat of a decent fight. That's sure. That is a decent comeback for Charlo, is Andrade, right? I got no beef with that. The guy hasn't fought in a while. Andrade hasn't fought, and they're both were high ranked fighters when they left. It's a decent fight for a Friday night. I'm not staying home on Saturday. I'll tell you that. You know what I mean? That's doing nothing on that end, but it's a good gap filler if Al Heyman needed it. So that's about all I got on that one, though. I mean, it was interesting as a flash in the pan fight. That's nothing that I would look forward to. Like, you can't have a build up to that one. Just if you told me, no, it's next Friday, I might watch it.
All right. It's like, oh, it happens to be on right before the Zuffa card. I'm sure. Oh, I'll be
exactly.
I got nothing else to do. Like, I do have to mow my lawn, but I'll be back once we're done there.
I have it playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Like, babe, turn on the volume. I want to hear this. I want to hear it's like old school, fights on the radio. It's like I'll listen to it. I'll base it off the commentary. I won't even really turn to the screen. So you mentioned that I guess that's the Admiral part. But I think, I don't know if I missed it, but the part that sounds desperate. I don't know, did you address that part already or no? Because it was the Admiral part, like, okay, fuck yeah, why not? But desperation, no. I mean, he hasn't fought since that fight, and now he's quiet as shit. He was preparing, he was preparing. So he was around against a nobody, some name there that's unfamiliar. But I don't know. It just seems he comes out of nowhere. It just seems like this dude has been radio silent for the longest time, and now it's like, oh shit, because it's almost as if Charlo is in a tough spot, right? Because of course he is. So he almost has leverage. He's like, all right, I'm gonna take advantage of the situation because I got leverage over Charlo here.
If he was not already preparing, then you can say desperate. But it really, I think he's actually doing everybody a favor if the fight is there to be made. I think Al Heyman would love to get a better fight on his whatever telecast they're putting the Andrade one on. Your viewership numbers just went up with the PBC fans, at least, that like to see Charlo make his comeback. And then they already know who Andrade is. So it's actually, it was pretty cool that he does that, as long as it's not now what about this? What if it was just one of those clickbait things, right? He knew damn well fight's never going to get approved. The budget, Al Heyman's like, motherfucker, I'm paying you $2,000. Your opponent's making $500.
Yeah.
Don't say that again. Hangs up on him. Then it was all just clickbait. You know what I'm saying? So there's that side of it. And I guess good brain on Andrade's side to get us to talk about his next fight. Now, he didn't win all the way because we haven't said the date. But anyone out there, at least you now know Andrade's fighting here soon. So good on that side.
You're welcome, Demetrius. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We put a shout out here, which is, it's kind of funny that clickbaity a little bit, right? And to some degree, kind of typical for PBC guys. PBC guys wait until their future opponent or somebody who's in their weight class has a fight already signed, and then magically calls them out all of a sudden. Seems to be right in line, right up the alley with PBC fighters. So that would make sense. That's the direction he's going. Which why not? I don't even know when we mentioned his fighting Demetrius, when he's actually going to get back in the ring. It's coming up, but maybe that just gives Charlo a few more weeks of training camp. Overtraining is a thing, but I suspect he was kind of taking it easy for this comeback fight. So maybe he ramps it up, and maybe we do get that fight. All right. Anything else you want to add to that before we move on to this last topic here?
No, sir. A World Cup update.
Oh,
is it 0-0 still?
Oh man,
let me. It's halftime. See, it is halftime now.
Shit. Okay.
0-0 though. Here we go.
Yeah, did you catch the third place game, dude? I totally spaced it. I totally forgot about it. But damn, where the hell these goals come from all of a sudden? I saw the score and I was like, what the fuck?
I wouldn't be surprised if the France goalie was under investigation here shortly.
Uh,
Just seemed like he wanted no part of that victory, that comeback. Every time they scored, Miguel, he was like, "No, no, come back this way." Oh, too. No, I'm just fucking with them. But yeah, it was
he's like
very high.
sipping coffee, like look at the side, like, well, there's another one. There's another one.
Oh, you guys have hope? Watch
Yeah,
this.
yeah. He's like, oh, watch this, guys. Look, goal. Oh, look, there he goes. Auto goal. Why not?
We watched it at we were bowling yesterday. I took the family bowling, so we were watching the game inside. They had the game on the TV, and actually the TV was right above our lane, so it was pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Right on.
Yeah.
I went bowling recently, and they always have like those ESPN Classic channel on, so it's like has like NFL bloopers from the 70s or some shit, like those kind of things. They didn't have that. There was nothing going on that particular day, but I totally spaced it, the third place game, because I was looking forward to Sunday, right, today for the final. I completely forgot, and I remember seeing the date, and it wasn't until afterwards, and I was like, oh yeah, it was Saturday. Shit, I totally missed it. But for those of you who didn't watch it, England did win. They beat France 4-6, and or 6-4, and got third place. So England, something worth celebrating. Third place in the World Cup. That means something.
I just sent you the picture of Christina and mine's last game. We only played 2 games. The kids can only play 2 games, eh? So this is our second game. You don't have to do it on live, but look at how competitive me and Christina are in those last. We're the last 2 frames on that score.
the Q, the
queen and the king. You know wives, dude.
Oh, she's the one that put it in.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, me and my buddies when we were younger, we used to just put stupid names up there, right? Anything. We went bowling with these chicks once, right? Who couldn't bowl for shit. It didn't look like they really wanted to be there. One chick in particular just kind of half-assing it. We're like, all right, I guess we're spending the money. My buddy and I came up with this idea to go in there and like switch the name in the middle of the game, and we switched it to "Yeah, I'm trying." And I don't think she noticed, but it was funny. It's funny, like who's "Yeah, I'm trying." Like, yeah, look who's not really giving a fuck. But figure that was funny. Throw that in there because you can put anything you want essentially up there. Oh boy. All right, so this last one here is kind of a side note, I guess, but we talked about it. I think we briefly mentioned it on the Wednesday show that at that time we hadn't had the UFC 329 numbers, viewership numbers, but apparently they're out now. And when I sent these to you, Andrew, initially you had given me some comments that I wanted you to kind of clarify for us here. But from what I can tell here, this is what it's saying. UFC 329 reached 15.9 million combined viewers, with 14.3 million from the US. UFC 329 surpassed UFC Freedom 250 in the peak current streams. I'm not sure what exactly that means, but it says which topped at 8.3 million compared to 7.9 for the White House event. So whatever concurrent streams. Not really sure what the fuck that means, but according to this here, unfortunately, the fight sucked. The main event, 69 seconds in, Conor McGregor ends up blowing out his knee, and turns out it's going to be pretty serious. He's going to get some surgery on there, but it's happened to him before, and he was able to come back within 8 or 9 months, I believe he said. So whether or not that's going to happen at this age, mind you, this happened years ago. I'm talking like 2017 or some shit like that. So his body isn't the same anymore, of course, and the healing isn't going to be the same. I believe he went on lying to say, it's happened before. I was back in 8, 9 months, something like that. Not the same situation now, right? Because of his age. So the body isn't going to heal the same way. That in and of itself is another story. But Andrew, you had a lot to say about the viewership numbers here. The comments in particular that you sent, or this that you sent me, UFC fell short again on viewer ratings. And then you threw this one in at the very end. I think we're talking about something else. Boxing don't need no more illegal streams. I don't know that to do with this particular, but you said MMA definitely needs boxing right now. The 2 biggest shows still did not beat Tyson and Jake Paul. Let's start with the UFC fell short again on the viewerships. Everywhere I'm seeing It's a success. They're happy about the numbers, yada yada, right? But compared to the other numbers on there, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, the Netflix show that Jake Paul put on, not Tyson specifically, but that one, it still fell short to that. But is that what you're referring to, or what specifically when you said that the UFC viewership fell short again?
Absolutely. I'm referring to the numbers of basically all the Netflix fights, right? I mean, Canelo Crawford did plus 40 million. That beats the two biggest MMA fights of all time combined. Jake versus Tyson, Canelo versus Crawford, and Jake versus Joshua. All of these, I mean, if you combine those numbers compared to what Paramount and the UFC have put together, you're telling me Paramount's like, man, we're totally kicking their ass, aren't we? You're looking at almost 200 million views to what, 35 million? And you paid $7.7 billion for that company? This is not even close. And to be honest with you, the only people that are happy about these numbers are Dana White, TKO, and the MMA. I have not, to this date, seen Paramount still release a statement about how they are booming in the MMA world right now. How they are the, what did you say, the parent company of the MMA world. I mean, they why haven't they come out and claimed themselves as the home of mixed martial arts? We have the most views out of anyone anywhere of all time. I know it's a small thing, but you paid $7 billion. You don't want to publicize at all that you're racking in. Now, look, I'm still saying the 17 million views. It might be 34 million is what they were trying to come out and say without Paramount confirming. You know, if you're Paramount, you don't want to come out and say, hey, we had 34 million people watch our MMA fight. We had more people watching our MMA fight than we had subscribed when we first bought the MMA. How about that one? Right? Another thing about the numbers they released, I don't know if you caught it, but did you see how they combined America with Latin America?
Yeah.
So what were the real numbers for Conor McGregor? And we're talking America, you guys, because we know that's where the money is. What were his real viewership numbers, and how far are those away from Netflix? Because I've never heard Netflix go, this was our number through certain countries, right? And maybe Netflix needs to come out. Maybe their 108 million's global. I don't know that. I don't know if that was just in America or if that's globally what they pulled in for Tyson versus for Paul.
Yeah.
But what are the numbers really for the McGregor? Because they hella hyped that up as this everyone. Oh, we had 80 million people streaming just the weigh-ins, and now you're going to tell me that they might not even have brought in what, 10 million, 12 million views in America. This is why I say, I know none of you guys will agree. Right now, the UFC might be bigger, Miguel. It might be bigger. But you know what they have?
Bigger than what? Bigger
than boxing.
Oh, okay.
Boxing. That's all I'm ever talking about.
Oh, well, I thought you meant like bigger than what it was before or something like that. Or,
oh, no,
or
bigger viewership than boxing.
All right.
Gotcha. But I think we have a tremendous amount of proof that you guys, that the MMA, sorry, bro.
That's right. I will gladly be thrown under the bus for MMA here.
That they are getting watched illegally somehow. That their fan base they didn't really give a shit, Dana, that you gave it to them for $8.99. They're not buying into that one either. If that's what it is, why the fuck are boxing fans or promoters worried about getting into the MMA world? What are you going to get? A bunch of kids that know how to stream shit? Oh, that's a cool fight. Let me go to that same website I fucking hacked the UFC on. What does that do for us? Right? So in reality, when you're looking at the numbers of paid subscribers that are tuning into these events, well, fuck, boxing is actually benefiting Zuffa, TKO, and those guys because we're the ones that actually pay to watch these events. Our numbers are dictating that. Your numbers aren't. You're telling us numbers that aren't even fucking there on the subscriptions. Your 80 million views on the weigh-ins, yet they only have like 20-something million views. You would think Paramount came out and go, man, we got like 10 million views since signing the UFC, right? And that's lowballing. If you got 80 million people watching, that's lowballing, saying 10 million subscribe to your $8.99. So I actually think it's fucking them that are benefiting from attaching their names to our Canelos and our Jake Pauls and our freaking Mike Tysons, whoever you want to say, because our viewers are doing better than yours. Yeah, I think it's benefiting them that Terrence Crawford is over there hanging out at their fights. Yeah, I don't think it does a fucking thing. If you put Alex Pereira at the ringside for Canelo versus Crawford, I don't think it does a fucking thing for us. That's where I'm sitting at today. I really don't.
And you might be right. Oh, I'm saying you might be right. I think you're right because I don't know, and if anybody else noticed this, but ringside for the main event for Pacheco and Aleem was Eddie Hearn. To Eddie Hearn's right is one-time UFC middleweight title challenger and current light heavyweight for the UFC in the UFC, Paulo Acosta. I cannot pronounce the last name, Costa. They call him the Terminator. There's no, or I forget the specific because he looks like Arnold because he's buff as fuck. Never popped hot, at least not yet, at least. But dude looks ripped. Anyway, I saw him ringside, and I'm gonna give props to our mentor here over my shoulder, Lee Honish. One of the things that he told me that when he first kind of brought me into Fight Net Radio was I have this weird ability to recognize faces. I don't know why. I don't know what is it about that I'm like, oh shit, that's so and so over there, and he's like, oh shit, how the fuck did you see him? Like, I don't know. I just see him. And I just have this ability to recognize faces. Sometimes I can't put the name to the face, but regardless, I'm like, I know that dude. I've seen that motherfucker before. So sure enough, right next to Eddie Hearn, ringside, is I see Paulo Costa, and I'm like, and he's a Brazilian dude. And I'm like, is that him? Because he has the same face. He recently had like the fucking hair transplant, whatever, to get the hair because he was gonna go and throw in thin up there. So I was like, that has to be him. So I go to his online, his Instagram, wearing the same shirt, and then posts that he's there. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not seeing anybody talk about that, which is funny that you're literally just saying like seeing one of our guys, and I'm saying one of our guys, MMA guys, over here on the boxing event, and no one fucking recognized him. No one's saying shit. I recognize him because I'm a fan of the dude, but it seems weird that it doesn't happen that way. There's nothing
Right.
that boxing gains from that. It does happen the other way around. But when I noticed that, I was like, oh, damn. I wonder if he's one of the guys that reached out to Eddie about, the talent agency, yada, yada, right? That's another conversation. But that kind of proves your point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was very shocked that the number was so low on the 15-9 for a Conor McGregor return. I really thought, dude, they said it was going to be bigger than the White House.
Well, it was, according to them, but like barely.
I thought, I thought the White House either did 17 million or it does, or was that globally too?
I don't know, because they use this word, like it peaked in concurrent streams. It says the UFC 329 surpassed UFC Freedom 250 in peak concurrent streams. Please, the education system failed me here. I don't know what the fuck that means. But regardless, and the fact that they were that specific, I think the UFC 250 did more, but they're like, but in this one little area here, the UFC 329 did more.
Yeah, because in reality, people, when we're gauging both sports on popularity, or you're actually looking at who's subscribing to Paramount. We don't really care about streams on YouTube or what Dana's fucking Instagram feed looked like that night. Because he tried to bring in his YouTube Instagram or some shit. It's like, bro, that's not what Paramount's looking at. They're looking at the $7 billion they gave you and what it got in return for that. So I want to know subscriptions and viewership on Paramount only.
Yeah. Very true. And by the way, I noticed that, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a UFC card last night on Paramount Plus, which I did watch as well, in Oklahoma, I believe it was. Dana White, earlier that day, I think it was the same day because he was wearing the same shirt, was at the press conference for Conor and Benn, and then later that evening was in Oklahoma for the UFC card. So dude got on the fucking jet and bolted immediately to that. I noticed that. I was like, oh, what the fuck? Because I thought about it for a second. I saw clips of Dana White at the post-fight press conference. I don't remember seeing him ringside, so maybe I missed that, but I could have sworn he was wearing the same shirt, and I saw the banner behind him and said UFC Fight Night, which is what they call, the smaller events. And I was like, oh shit, was that last night, motherfucker? Oh, dude went from fucking New York to... Oh, and then just throw that in there. I get that Berlanga and Hitchens' debut with Zuffa is going to be in New York, but why didn't they do the fucking the main event the press conference was for Conor and Ryan. They should have done that shit in like Vegas or Los Angeles or something like that. Like, why? They're basically placating to the guys who aren't the stars, with Zuffa in Berlanga and Hitchens. I again, I don't know. I wouldn't, because they had it at Madison Square Garden, that press conference there. I would have liked for them to have done it in Vegas where the fight is actually taking place.
Right, right. Hey, Berlanga put out a real weird interview the other day with, I think it's called Fight Hub TV. Did you check that out? I sent it to you.
The one where he was explaining why he signed with Zuffa. Yeah, I did see it. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
He almost looked disappointed already. Not a lot of smiling going on as he described what was going on in his career right now and why he signed. And then I didn't like the word. He kept using the word good. It's good. It's good. Not it's great. Not best decision of my life. Is he like?
He might as well have said like it's just okay. Okay, it's just okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm eating at a restaurant and I'm the chef, I don't want the first customer to be like, it was good. It's been good over here.
And with no smile, I was like, yeah, it was good.
Someone else pointed that. Like, why does he already look like a prisoner when you look at the
like he's being held hostage? It's like reading a script. Like, yes, it's all God. I mean, good. Somebody misspelled this.
Someone smart in his family was all, did you actually read this that you fucking signed? Right? 3 days later, they all got to figure it out. But no, that was really a real weird interaction. I'm interested to see what the future is. How long is it going to be for Berlanga to get to the top, right? We see Conor Benn's getting there kind of fast with his opportunity with Ryan. Berlanga and Hitchens, why they were put on the slow train, I don't know. And another guy I think we need to bring up is Opatai. It was announced that Opatai is going to be on the undercard of Garcia Benn, which is huge news for him, right? That's huge. But why do you have to give up his title and then fight on a fucking card that has a world title? So if I'm Opatai, I'm still, because do you know how cool Opatai would have looked, and Zuffa, to have your title sitting next to the IBF title that night?
Yeah. I can't imagine. I know I would have to imagine that Opatai is like punching the air right now, saying like, why the fuck did I have to give up my belt? And again, it's a different belt, right? It's WBC and the IBF. I get that. But it's like, yo, if you're telling me you're not going to work, because this is what I'm understanding when I hear Opatai talk, when I hear Berlanga talk, when I hear Hitchens, and even recently Shakur, promises. That's what I'm hearing from Zuffa. Oh, they have this idea. They do great marketing, yada yada. It just sounds like they say they're gonna put the best fights on for me, yada yada. Promises, promises, promises. Unfortunately, from the time that we're hearing that the Ali Act isn't going to be revised, at least as of right now, them not wanting to work with other promoters, boom, we have Oscar involved to some degree, but they don't want to work with the sanctioning bodies. Boom, everything that they're saying was going to happen, there's going to be no super middleweight division, but we have Berlanga fighting at 116. Like, it's just at this point, they're just another fucking promoter in the pot. Go ahead, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, and more importantly, why did he have to leave his pay scale?
Oh, yo, bam.
Ben didn't have to leave his fucking pay scale. He's getting a title shot. Garcia is not leaving his pay scale. He's getting a title shot. You got freaking Hitchison and Berlanga and Opatai all had to give up their pay scales. That's real weird. We got to see how this plays out for them. But he would have, his ring belt still would have had some kind of notoriety. Is that the word? Like some
credibility.
Credibility, better word. Credibility behind it. Right now, everyone thinks that fucking title's shit. He would have had the IBF and Zuffa. I think Zuffa really missed something there, but it's all about the pay. It's all that you guys need to understand. These guys try to build businesses that they could double down on your fucking backs, on your brains, your CTE cases. They're not trying to pay you. They're trying to double down on you. They're trying to profit on these guys. Zuffa, Opatai, Berlanga, and Hitchens. Real interesting to see where their pay goes after these low ball fights they all got thrown into. I mean, Opatai, seriously, this is his second one he's already getting thrown into. While I was like, at first I was like, oh, Opatai, biggest stage he ever fought on. Then as soon as I rethought it, it was like, well, wait a minute, that's fucked up. He's literally gonna watch all the titles walking around him. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, dude, sorry, fucking Conor's pulling up in a Lamborghini, talking about I made 31 million in my last 2 fights. Opatai, with the presence of David Benavidez sitting there, would have made more money in this fight. Matter of fact, you guys, his pay scale might not even put him on the undercard of any fight, because David's now sitting there. There's potential there. Eddie Hearn would had to have worked with him a little bit better, right? Like, what do you say? Gave him a little bit of a raise to keep him happy, so he has that potential David Benavidez showdown with them. That's going to be pay-per-view if they do put it off. It's the zone pay-per-view, but it still would have been pay-per-view. He left all that to fight for what? What does he make? Maybe 750,000 is what he's going to make.
Well, if we go based off of that pay scale, yes.
Yes. So hopefully he makes the 750,000, which is an upgrade.
Sure.
But damn, one guy making 31, the other guy's
Right.
making.
It's very short-sighted. He just shot himself in the foot.
Yes.
It's not looking at the longer plan, like maybe risking getting paid less now for the possible huge payout later. Say, no, I've done enough. Let me go ahead and secure this, $750, whatever now. But now I just cap myself. I just put a ceiling on my shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But anyway, hopefully everything turns out okay with one Conor McGregor and his surgery and everything, because I'm sure they're going to need him back. Rather not, they're going to run it back one more time with Max Holloway is another story, of course, another conversation. But those numbers, might still be falling short, even though they seem huge. Yeah,
they lost the New Zealand kid that had a great knockout this year.
Oh, yeah.
They looked like he was going to be on his way. They lost him. They lost to Poirier and Piera the same fucking night. And now you lose McGregor to it. Paramount's got to be like, yeah, this is not that fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's to some degree when you see the back-to-back, granted, it's not the numbers that we think they're supposed to be, but if you got 2 back-to-back events that did, however, tens of millions, unfortunately, the people that participated in those won't be back anytime soon. So rather now they can do it with any other future events in the near future here is going to be, questioned, and remains to be seen whether or not they can actually do it. But they kind of just went balls to the wall with these 2 most recent events, got these numbers, which are on their own great, not compared to other stuff, but on their own great. And the guys who participated in them might be a while before we see them back in the ring or the octagon.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we want to add to this? I think we pretty much called it a show. Those are all the topics that I wanted to throw in there. Any update on the score, Andrew? Are they still 0-0? Because I think at this point they're already started the second half, and I'm gonna change it here on my TV real soon. I just can't reach my remote, but once that gets done.
All right, it's reloading.
All right.
Reload. Halftime says still. No.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh
wow.
Cool.
It hasn't been that long then. All right.
I reloaded again. It's still saying halftime. Fuck yeah.
Right. Oh. Don't tell me. Argentina's just scored. No, I'm just kidding.
It has to be halftime, bro. I don't know. Dude, the little green, it says in green halftime, but then under 0-0, it says final. But there's no way it's over, right? It just started an hour. Yeah. So it's got to be halftime.
Right. And even if it was 0-0, they have to go into extra time, and they have to go to penalties and shit.
Penalty kicks, yeah. All
right. So I think that covers everything we need to talk about. We'll be back for our Wednesday show, of course, because we do have some fights this weekend. Actually, quite a few. Prenga and Anthony Joshua, Sue and Spence. We even have a Zuffa card on Sunday. And then Tyson Fury and the motherfucker on the night before. Good Lord, we have a lot of things going on.
Tyson announced he's made $250,000 in ticket sales for some charity in Thailand.
Oh,
so
that's right. Yeah,
that's pretty cool that they're even generating that type of money. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm American. Like, they generate money? No, just kidding.
What? Like they're in the green? Aren't they always in the red? Shit. Boy, you and that American capitalism blinding your judgment, Andrew. But that's gonna call it. That's gonna do it for us here today. For my co-host Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapache. I am Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Feed Migs, and this has been the Mad Boxing Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Take care. Peace.